Interesting. What camera do you think you're using, computer? It was using the wrong microphone, so I bet you it's trying to use. Yep, like we're doing a phone presentation. We are not. Oh, not that one. We are gonna do this one. 480p. Ugh. There we go. Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast. I don't know where my background went. It's showing a broken square. And I didn't know it was quite so green back there behind all the yellow and black. Let's see what we can do. Let's go to design. It says we're using the right one. Actually, it doesn't. It's using this broken thing. There you go. That's much better. But when did my background become lime green? That shall not do. But anyway, where's this other one? It says broken. Then we can have like Christmas time, winter time, snowy mountains. There's more, but this is ours. Okay, so Futuraza, our buddy Brian there, is saying that he gave us a thumbs up. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. And let me pull up the notebook because we have stuff in the notebook today. Before I even get there, let me go to the phone, open up the same notebook, and sign in because I bet you it signed me out without thinking anything. Yep, you're offline. Sign in. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's me. Usually it just signs in, even though it should have never signed out. But this time it's asking me who I am. All right, now let's run a synchronization. Then we'll come over to the desktop and we'll open up the notebook. These glasses are really dirty. I've got baby fingerprints all over them, which is fine for seeing you guys with the screen because they are thankfully on the inside. But to look through them, well, I'm going to need to clean them. That is something else. Here I'm squinting. Let's, is the notebook even open? We'll just open it again. What's it going to hurt? Because it only allows one instance, so there it is, right on top, right where I left it. But that's not what we're talking about today. All right, so I promised one on the Tesla Live show. We'll get to that one. And I've got 3 others lined up. So let's see, where do we want to start today? We're going to look at... oh, I didn't do an audio sample to make sure we don't sound weird. So let's unmute this. Hey, I can do broadcast audio with this. You know, that is why I bought it 20 years ago. All right. Not just the microphone, though. You've got all the equipment behind it, but I've always had decent equipment behind it. So after the pauses and stutters and such of the last, not the last 3 in a row, but the last 3 times that they messed up the show, I decided I'm going to start to work more on the Roadcaster video we've got here instead of the software. But that'll be coming sooner, or later rather than sooner. And so we've got this article here. We've got, do I have a theme going with these articles? All right, we've got our X space lined up. That's nice. Let's see. We got one with no link. That's the one I promised. We'll find some stories on it. We'll deal with it. Ah. Yes. So we're going to do this. We're going to start with the Cybertruck, and then we're going to work on these other 2 because they're not quite a theme to them, but they're related. And then we'll get on to the mess. So let's start with Cybertruck just because it's a little easier for me to wrap my head around. So you guys might remember a couple months ago we had a rear-wheel drive long-range Cybertruck, and it was not a good choice. It didn't have the essence of a Cybertruck. Like the most people weren't buying it for the looks, and that was about all it had was the looks, and it didn't have any of the essence of what people expected from their Cybertruck. You didn't have the power tonneau cover. You didn't have the power off put, power export. I mean, you did have the one from the charge port, but that's not the same thing. They had they stripped it too much. It was like it was trying to be a fleet truck, but even for a fleet that would pick that truck, it was missing too many of the features that that people expected. So they canceled it because nobody was buying it. But now, let's look at it from Tesla North's article here. We got a much more compelling trim. Although I saw or heard scuttlebutt that Elon's doing this as a end of the quarter incentive thing. But if it sells well, don't mind what he's saying. They're gonna do something similar, even if they don't do the exact same thing. So let's share our screen, and we're gonna pick your browser is accessing your screen. Yeah, I know. That's audio 1712 times in the past 90 days. You can manage this in settings. Yeah, so if I've been clicking share screen and I've done it 1,700 times in the last 90 days, you might think I know what the button does, right? Here we go. And this is the one we want. I'm going to share, and we're going to adjust the layout there. And let's discuss. So, $59,990. Somebody is screwing us up with messages. Is it Facebook? It's usually Facebook. I'll re-sign into Facebook and LinkedIn after this because that's usually them. But anyway, hello, Top Frog. It's nice to see you. Even though you're throwing all my stuff on the floor. What do you throw on the floor? Some kind of equipment? What equipment do you throw on the floor? Do you want to wear the unicorn? Or do you want to take a nap? Yeah, you want to take a nap? Okay, here. Put this behind you. Yep. Over my shoulder. And then, yeah, there you go. That one's for my ears. No, I needed to go that way. I guess I could put them both to the same side, but I meant to rearrange my desk for that. I finally did get another a laptop holder for the. I've had it now for about a month or two. It's been a minute. Laptop holder for the Vesa arms, so that I can get that up off the desk, because I did like it that way at the previous studio. And when I got the new screen, and back to this old desk, I didn't do that again because the layout was different. But I don't like having the laptop just sitting there on the desk surface, like it floating in midair. Because then the keyboard can be by itself on the desk surface instead of on the laptop. Oh, you're looking at you? Who's that? Is that Mako? Is that Daddy? Yeah? There you are. How do the fingers taste? Like your fingers? Okay, so as I was saying, the this one is a lot more compelling, and some folks were saying, I didn't do the math to check them, that this actually coincides with the $40,000 starting price that they originally promised us after inflation. And it still has most of the stuff that people look for in when they think Cybertruck. So it's missing the air suspension and it's missing the rear screen and 2 of the 4 power outlets. But that's about it. Let's take a look. There it is. I actually like those wheels anyway. The cores are all right as well, but I like a little meat on my tires, especially in a truck. Speaking of meat in the tires, I picked up a screw in the Model X tires the other day. Spent a chunk of yesterday getting it repaired. It was just inside the area where they would say, no, we're not going to fix that. But where they did get me is the typical Tesla S and X chewing out the rear inside tires because of the extreme tow they've got on that vehicle. As if we're going autocrossing. It's great at turning, but it doesn't need to be that great at turning that you waste a whole tire. Like literally, you're at maybe half or almost half life of the outside edge of the tire, but the inside is toast. So I've got maybe another month or 2 before I gotta go tire shopping again. That's an expense I was not wanting to do quite so soon, but I think what I will do is go ahead again with the Cross Climate 2 SUVs because they're great in the snow and the rain. And then while I don't anticipate any snow again for a few more months, even with our wild and wacky travels, I do anticipate rain everywhere. In fact, I've got new wipers I got from the Tesla store that I need to put on the car at some point. Oh, don't eat these. These are fan mounts. They're made of a silicone material, and they make it so that when the fan is running, it doesn't vibrate as much, or at least doesn't transmit the vibrations into whatever you've stuck the fan to. That's switching out my fan, pre-fan for the servers from a plastic manifold to, I can't even see what I'm sharing with you guys because I'm on the wrong screen, to a, I just joined them together at their screw holes. They're still rigid, goes on the front and the back, minimal plastic, and more importantly, not a pain in the butt to get out from in front of the drives, preventing me from doing proactive drive maintenance because you got to do a whole lot of consumables to get it off and back on again. That's a pain. So back to the Cybertruck and the Cross Climate 2 as I was talking about. Yeah, so I don't anticipate it snowing, but it will be raining, and I like a little meat on my tires. So that's what this trim looks like. All right, let's see. So it's a dual motor all-wheel drive variant. It's got the same battery as we are used to, I believe. They said it charges differently, and some of the folks who nerd out on that a little bit more, they said it's probably just either they have a newer test or they adjusted some fudge factor one way or the other. All right, so this new entry-level model, you got some toy toast. Significantly lowers the barriers to entry for the stainless steel pickup. Previously required a much higher investment in the Foundation Series or Cyber Beast trims. What? Yeah, that's true. It did, but not recently. You get a just the core one. All right, no, you don't need an ink pen, baby. No. Don't put that USB in your mouth. There you go. This is why my desk is messy. Always just picking stuff up from one or two of the children, and don't bite the toy. It's fake toast. Are you hungry? I've got real food. Do you need a snack? Would you like a granola bar? How about that? Better? And it's hard on your teeth, so you can work in those new teeth, huh? Okay, so this one's saying 325 mile range. It's got a 0 to 60 at 4.1, so they're not really dialing down the dual motor on you. What I suspect this may be happening if Elon is not trying to goose the numbers for the end of the quarter is that same thing we saw with the Model 3 standard and Model Y standard, which are now just called Model 3 and Model Y, where as they prepare the volume they need of the cheaper stuff, they just throw in the regular one. So let's see, you've got they streamline the interior and the hardware. Oh, and it's got cloth seats instead of the faux leather. Unlike the previous trim, this version uses coil springs with adaptive damping instead of an air suspension system. So it's going to be the same style suspension as the Model Y Performance instead of the air suspension like the other Cybertrucks. We'll pretend the other one never existed, the base model. And interior features a durable textile material designed for easy cleaning, and it loses the ventilated front seats and the 9-inch rear passenger screen, but you still have heated front seats. What's up, Lee? Happy Sunday. All right, so we've got the seats. Other differences, you've got you lose some speakers, but that's always been a Tesla thing, is that you don't give them as much money, you don't get as many speakers, which is fine. Other car makers do that too. And had they just taken speakers out of the other one, nobody would have said anything. They took out all the stuff that made the Cybertruck cool, like left none of it, except for the exterior. But I'm not going to some place I need protection from small arms fire at the doors, so having that part remain is not impressive. The payload does drop on this one from 2,500 down to 2,006 pounds, and it loses the smuggler's cove, the under trunk of the trunk, for reasons. So did the other one, which I guess they're still using some of that, but not making it as crummy a value. Towing is only 7,500, but I do believe that's what they promised on the base model 10 years ago, 7 years ago. Yeah, 7. Because it was after we got the one we have, but barely. Storage, the 6'4", 6 foot by 4 foot composite. Yes. I shouldn't give you your granola bar. You turned it into oatmeal shards, and you're dropping chocolate on me. Trail mix. You turned it into trail mix. Anyway, the 6 foot by 4 foot composite bed, referred to as the standard bed rather than the vault, as it lacks. Sorry, she moved all the windows off all the screens. As it lacks the underfloor trunk found in premium versions. Is that really the only reason? Because the reason the last one wasn't called the vault was because it didn't have the tonneau cover at all. What have you dropped on me? I felt that. I don't. Oh, there it is. That's most of the granola bar. What did you take it for if you weren't going to eat it? Yeah. The truck still has remains a mobile power bank featuring bed outlets, 2 120 and 1 240 outlets, but you don't get the 2 inside the vehicle anymore. You threw your toy down. I'm sorry. I'm not picking it up. Don't kick that granola crumbles across my desk. Oh, I need to clean the desk now. She just smeared chocolate chip. Why are you throwing it on the floor? Oh my goodness. Oh, she smeared chocolate chip all over my desk. Right where I use my work mouse. You're not cleaning. You're making it sticky. I don't like sticky. Thank you. Yes, but you don't get the 2 inside anymore. And yeah, that's the important stuff. So let's see if they covered the Elon goosing I heard of, but have yet to verify. Cyberbreeze drops to 99,990 as the Lux package is scrapped. I heard about that. I didn't check into it, and that is annoying because the Lux package is the one I wanted. But that is probably mostly because Elon needs his little paycheck with the however many millions of subs of FSD. Oh, here it is right here. They did touch it. Elon Musk warns the 59,990 Cybertruck is only for a limited time. So we'll check out both of these as they are quite related. Guess what? While your Cybertruck can now earn your money while it's parked. They flipped on a switch for one of the most anticipated owners in Texas and California. So you can use your Cybertruck as part of the distributed grid. As long as you don't have a Powerwall. They're still working on the Powerwall software compatibility. So let's go ahead and switch screens to these other ones. And we'll start with the goose in the market. I guess they're all goose in the market for his paycheck. All right, let's see. Price drop. Share this tab instead. And then we'll get on to some non-Tesla stuff, I hope. Well, I guess not entirely. Yes. You had mommy bring you in here because you wanted to take a nap without your sister waking you up. Yeah. You got all these toys. Why are you playing with the food? Ma'am. Yes. All right, so let's see what we're looking at. Sudden ultimatum that could leave thousands of prospective Cybertruck owners in the lurch. I don't know why he seems to think that everybody's just got money ready to go to buy a vehicle, and give us a month or two to get used to something and try to make it happen. And then, you know, if you do get something, they want you to change it out in 9 months. Oh, it's time for the new thing. Thankfully, they still do support the old thing, but the way they hold back on the old thing is just okay. Here's some pressure to buy the new thing. Okay. After they launched the more affordable truck on Thursday, Musk clarified on Friday that it's strictly temporary. Writing on X, the CEO warned that the new entry-level price is available only for the next 10 days. Weirdo. The announcement has created immediate confusion regarding what happens once the clock runs out on March 2nd, and Tesla has not confirmed if the price will jump slightly higher or if the specific configuration will be removed from the online store entirely. This flash sale tactic is a classic move from Tesla playbook, often used to pull forward demand and inflate delivery numbers for the end of the fiscal period. Yeah, but they usually don't stop right before the end of the period. That's why I was surprised. Only 10 days. Ma'am. You're making a mess. So the 10-day window puts massive pressure on reservation holders who've been waiting years for a version of the stainless steel truck that costs less than 6 figures. By stripping away premium features such as air suspension, high-end audio, Tesla's finally reached a price point that competes with mainstream electric pickups. But Musk is now making it clear that the window to lock in that value is closing fast. For those sitting on the fence, the risk of waiting is high. Historically, Tesla price changes are permanent and unpredictable, meaning the sub 60,000 Cybertruck could become a rare collector's item or much more expensive to purchase by the time next week rolls around. And yes, they like we have always said on the Tesla Life show is if you see one you like and you can afford it, get it while it's there because it could be gone later. And that started with before I even had my first one. I was in for the Model S 40. My paycheck was due on Friday, and on either like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, Elon's like, nobody wants this. It's gone. And it was gone. Hey, Anders is here. Greetings from Stockholm, Sweden. Where's my mouse? There it is. Good evening from Stockholm, Sweden. There we go. The yes. Yeah, so the Model S40 was gone. Slipped through my fingers because I was waiting on that last paycheck to have all of the order fee, and I mean it ended up all right. I probably would have it's not been a good candidate for what turned out to be the Model S60 with a software cap, but it taught me. It taught me that the way they swing the prices around is whiplash inducing. So, no comments on this one either. That's fine. Moving on, and we'll share this instead. So the Cyber Beast is no longer luxified at 100 and whatever. Makes it significantly more affordable. It's most powerful truck, well, for only 10 days through the lower price, though the lower price comes at the expense of several high-value perks. So they've officially scrapped the Lux package for the Cyber Beast. You can still get it on S and X, while you can still get an S and X, which have been end of life. Yeah? Uh-oh. What are you throwing now? You better not throw my work phone on the floor. Uh-oh. There it is. The screensaver on the Xbox. Not actual Xbox, but the tablet I'm using to stream to X. I don't care about the weather. Go back to my show. There we go. It's super low. Let's raise this thing up a little bit. There we go. Now starts under 100, but you lose your 4 years of maintenance. You lose your extended warranty. You lose your free supercharging for life of the owner of the first owner of the vehicle. And it also came with lifetime FSD, which as of Valentine's Day became non-transferable to anyone who bought after Valentine's Day, and then now it's gone. If you couldn't tell, I don't care for subscription stuff that should be a one-time purchase. I did like, was it Chris Dirty Tesla or Telusive? One of them pointed out that if the numbers don't get goosed the way that Musk wants, since his pay package is geared at the number of subscriptions, that we should expect a massive drop in the price of the FSD subscription. But we'll see how long that takes. Or if it gets good enough that they feel they don't need to drop the price. If they threaten to raise it. From what I understand, they haven't done that yet. Lower sticker price improves accessibility. Remove a Lux package means they lose out on bundle features. You previously got you don't get full self-driving anymore as a lifetime license. You must pay for a monthly subscription. You no longer get free supercharging for life, or the 4-year premium service plan, or the glass and maintenance protection. That's super annoying because it did cost more, but you actually, if you drive all the time like me, you actually could get value out of it. Additionally, the complimentary premium connectivity subscription is now a separate cost. Yeah. Do you think you're a cable company? Everything doesn't need to be a subscription, The pricing overhaul arrives just as Tesla introduces the new entry-level dual motor all-wheel drive trim. Current lineup now includes the dual motor all-wheel drive for the next week at $59,990, and the premium at $79,990, and the Beast at $99,990. And it's been there a couple of times. It's also been like $129. This pricing structure may be short-lived, as Musk has already noted that the $59.90 is a limited time. The deadline looming, the entry price for the stainless steel pickup will likely climb back up early next month. Yep. All right, now, instead of Tesla being in your pocket every friggin' month, we've got a little way to make you some money, but not if this is your configuration because software. Tesla's finally flipping the switch on. She's finally asleep after just like making a mess. Ugh, super messy. In Texas and California, you can do the the PowerShell grid support system program, which means that you can do vehicle to the grid instead of just vehicle to home. And you can support the electric grid when needed and earn you extra money. In participating regions, PowerShare grid support allows your vehicle to send energy back to the grid during high demand energy events. For each event where you send energy to the grid, you'll receive a credit on your energy bill while helping to keep your community's energy resilience. Launching first in Texas, tied to specific utilities and of course Tesla as a utility in Texas. Cybertruck owners must live in an area serviced by CenterPoint Energy or Encore, have a PowerShare capable vehicle, and install the required PowerShare equipment at home. Participation also requires enrolling in the Tesla Electric Drive plan and opting through the Tesla app. Once enrolled, owners can automatically contribute energy during peak demand events, which tend to be infrequent but can happen on short notice. Get you a little something extra in your pocket there. California support is officially listed as coming soon, and it will be on PG&E, Southern California Edison, and SDG&E. With the enrollment handled through the utility-run vehicle-to-grid programs inside the Tesla app, like Texas, California owners will need compatible hardware and must explicitly opt in. Tesla notes that PowerShare grid support is currently available through an early adopter program, with broader access planned once that phase continues. Importantly, Tesla says participating in the program will not impact your warranties during the early rollout. I don't like that part. But based on what we've seen from the battery testing and what they'll see on the pilot is that there won't be any impact to the warranty. This is my reasoned prediction. The update also comes as Tesla continues expanding bidirectional charging across its lineup. Late last year, the company delayed the long-awaited Cybertruck PowerShare with Powerwall integration until around mid-26. We'll see. They've been promising it since launch. While recently enabling vehicle-to-load support on the China-only 3-row Model Y L, which folks have said uses the exact same charger as the others. So as long as there isn't any other one-way power equipment in there, they may enable it through software. Or it may be there and you'll have to buy a new car to get it. For Cybertruck owners, V2G represents more than just a new feature. It turns the truck into a mobile energy asset. With extreme weather events stressing the grids more often, Tesla is positioning Cybertruck not just as an electric pickup, but as a distributed energy resource. Yep. So those are those ones that I said were one article. So let's do, speaking of grid resilience, this actually flows nicely into the next item in our notebook here. Let's go to that's not what I thought I was clicking on. It is something I wanted to share, but it's not what I thought I was clicking on. All right, so Honda has unveiled a new electric moped that's cheaper than the gasoline equivalent. No motorcycle license needed. Because it's a moped. But the important part is that it's cheaper than the gasoline equivalent. So even at the two-wheeler class, we're starting to see that electric is cheaper than gas. We're starting to see it just barely on the automobile space and mostly only in China. But we're talking no incentives, just a bare bones car, and it makes sense. You're looking at some solid state electronics with some off the shelf chips, and if you pick an appropriately sized motor instead of a large one, like we all enjoy, basic steering, basic airbags, some seatbelts, key lock, crank windows, maybe some heat, maybe a defroster, horn, turn signals, brake lights. It doesn't have to be that complicated, and without the little boost you get on the from the fossil industry, the legacies. If you can expose that real cost, I mean, yeah, you can make a cheap motor, but can you make a safe motor, like one that's not as bad on the outputs? Not really. Not at the prices that they charge for these things. So, like for like, the electric will be cheaper. Literal like for like with no incentives. And we're starting to see that. Here it is, plain as day on the moped, and we started, like I said, we're starting to see it on economy boxes around the world. Honda's doubling down on the small electric two-wheelers with the launch of a new budget-friendly model that undercuts its own gasoline equivalents and can be ridden without a full motorcycle license because it's a moped. The new Icon E electric moped is set to go on sale in the Japanese market next month at a price of 220,000 yen or $1,400 US, including tax. Oh my goodness. That's cheaper than that bike I told you about last week. Hold on moped. Of course, you can't ride a moped everywhere you can ride a bike, but again, if you need a moped, you're looking for transportation more than, like recreation and exercise and all the stuff you might do with a bike. I mean, bike is transportation, but this is utilitarian transportation, like what people use a car for. Get to and from work, get to your appointments. And it's very efficient because, it's just one person, maybe two. Do you need a whole cage? That makes it roughly 10% cheaper than the equivalent gasoline-powered mopeds Honda introduced late last year, according to the local media. And unlike the larger motorcycles that require standard motorcycle license, I see why they keep pointing it out. Well, no, because again, he said motorcycles. I was thinking that they said that in Japan you need a motorcycle license for a moped. Gas, that would make sense, but he didn't say that. The Icon E can be ridden without or with a moped license because it's a moped, which is available to riders age 16 and up after attending lectures and passing a simpler test. That lowers the barrier to entry significantly and opens the door to younger riders and urban commuters looking for an affordable, low-maintenance option. You know what I'm thinking right now? Let's go look at the picture. I'm wondering if this is really a motorcycle with low performance sold in the moped class. Because on a moped, you need pedals. I mean, they don't have to always be out. You might have to attach them, but in many jurisdictions around the world, you can't call it a moped if it doesn't have pedals. And I'm not seeing a place on there to like open a panel and stick them in or flip them out. So maybe him calling it out with just a moped license is significant here. Icon E is a scooter-style setup with a flat footrest design aimed at city riders. Often claims a range of 50 miles per charge. That's not bad. Which Honda says is more than sufficient, considering that a typical moped rider travels less than 6 miles per day. This is true. Maybe about 25. Helping to ease range anxiety and improve convenience, the bike uses companies like Mobile Power Pack E, a removable battery pack that can be taken indoors for charging or swapped at Honda's charging stations. Honda has been steadily expanding its swappable battery ecosystem, including its Honda Mobile Power, the HMPP, platform used for or the HMPPP, used across several light electric two-wheelers in the Asian markets. The broader strategy allows the company to leverage scale, reduce parts, and bring pricing down through mass production markets such as Indonesia and beyond. And if you guys remember my constant praise for Goguru, the Honda and Yamaha system is the same conceptually. Looks like their stations have less ports, though. And then this is your home charger. And I do believe you need two per moped. The Icon E is the latest in a growing lineup of electric small scooters from Honda. By pricing the Icon E below its gasoline counterpart, Honda is making a strong statement that electric isn't just the cleaner option anymore. It can be the cheaper one. And I do believe I saw a couple of ads or reviews or advertorials, something to that effect, of Honda electric lawnmowers, which it's a little too late for me because I've already got my ecosystem, but I was always a fan of the Hondas, even though I had the Husqvarna as my gasoline mower at the time. Nice bright orange self-propelled monster. Got stolen in one of our moves. They're Swedish, right? Husqvarna. And then when I was in school in home ec, we used their sewing machines. Very powerful. One of the kids had to go to the hospital because he stuck the needle through his finger. Very powerful, even just for a sewing machine. And I think we had something from them in shop class as well, like a grinder or something. I don't remember. It's a brand I admire. Yes. So, but anyway, back to Honda. Honda was the other one to get all of the brand goodwill. And then when they were resisting going electric, that made it hard. But then when they came to the light, that they earn it back a little bit. So let's do this. Let's go and on a little sidetrack. We're going to look and see what electric mowers Honda is rocking right now. Honda. I don't want the car site, so let's just do Honda mowers. And I think these aren't electric. All the rest of these are. They closed the gas plant nearby here. Honda Power Equipment on Honda.com. They've got all these different sites, and Honda.com does not get you to any of where you might expect. It's the corporate site. So, or at least it was. Yep, so 1.5 kilowatts. I mean, that's really all they had to do was just get the battery packaged in there and use the decks they already had. Time to upgrade your mower. See, the thing though is, I've already got all of these batteries for Ego, so I will probably stick with Ego until they make me mad. And then Honda stands a chance. I wonder if Husqvarna has electric non-robot mowers, because I do know that they have the electric robot mowers. But the yard we have now is too small for an electric robot mower, and the yard that I want to get next is probably going to be too big for an electric robot mower, or not have any grass at all, depending on where we are in the desert. I think they still probably mostly gas. There we go. You're not doing too well when your dealers are ranking above you, my folks. All right, gas. Oh, that might be electric right there. It's a little skinny. Don't need that. Okay, yeah, that is battery. Okay. And the robots have been electric from the onset. And that looks electric to me. All right, so everybody's making the switch finally. Not entirely though. That one looks electric to me. And yes, I'm talking push mowers, but everybody makes a good, nice ride on mowers as well. Let's see, zero turn. So what would be the spiritual successor to what I had? I think this might be the literal successor to what I had. Mine wasn't that ugly though. Let's reject all the cookies. Yeah, that'd be closer to my styling. Mine was like all orange. But that's electric, isn't it? Ours got a shield on it. It looks electric to me. Tool only. If you've already got their batteries, you don't need the whole tool. So I told you guys about the. I'm trying to remember the name of the brand now. But the universal tool batteries. If somebody will do that for these power tools, I guess those are power tools too, but these yard tools, breaking us out of the proprietary batteries, they could make a killing. Okay, so now back to Honda, and we'll look at their mopeds. And we'll come back to Honda. They said it was the Japanese market, so this will probably be the only way we can get an ad copy on it. Let's go there. It's pretty. Wait, is this the chair thing? This is the chair thing, the suitcase. I don't want that one. I want the one we just read about. I think this costs more than the moped. We don't want the moto compacto. We want what do they call it? I shouldn't have closed that tab, huh? Bring it back. There's this guy advertising them for the US, but I don't think it's going to be the same thing. Making sure I'm a human. Verification successful. Oh. They do have some electric ones in the US. I didn't realize that. These aren't going to be as cheap as the other one, though. They've got the Yugo, the UB, the EV Cub, the Vigo, the Mono, the Gyro E, which we don't have a picture of, the Bentley E, EV Neo, Gyro Canopy E, the Joker S, the M8, H12. Are these all electric? They did that quietly. The M6, the Q1, Q2, M7, A8, Victor 2, the eSun V2, the V1, Delta 1, A6, vSun V3, A7, the H1 2023. The reason they don't have a picture might be because it's out of production. D2, T2, PCX electric scooter, the EM1E, and then the upcoming, they've got all these. Okay. So they've got themselves a lineup if you're into mopeds. But again, only one is the cheapest. All right. So let's go back to this other thing. Copy link. Do a little paste and go. So this was related to what I thought I was talking about. Although, again, price parity with electric, and not just price parity, but being cheaper than gas is a good milestone to be at, especially from a legacy brand. The biggest study yet shows that plug-in hybrid use is over 300%. Have used over 300% more fuel than claimed. Like I said, if it works for you, that's great. But the reason I was so disappointed in any manufacturer doing it is stuff like this. Like every study we've seen says that they don't get plugged in frequently enough, unless the fuel price is just through the roof. And unfortunately, most places where plug-in hybrids were available with a reasonable range, not like a 10 mile, 30 mile plug-in. 10 miles it's not bad, but it's not all that useful in North America. 30 miles, we're getting there. But what you want to see is a good 50 to 90 miles plug-in range, and then it can switch to the gas. Or like these pickup trucks are claiming 100 to 200 miles range of electric before switching over to serial hybrid. But that's not what most of these are, and because they're just using it as an excuse for gas, you want to see either them not do it or do better. So just give me these little straws in these big tall cups. The situation is that our straws need more cleaning. And these beverages are so cold I can't dump them in my mouth without hurting my teeth. Oof. Okay, let's see. EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Power Station, 749 for 72 hours. Anchor Solix, 24 hours. And so anyway, the largest study yet, accounting for nearly 1 million plug-in hybrid vehicles, shows that PHEV vehicles use far more gasoline than previously claimed. The study comes. I guess she dropped her toy in her sleep. Let's see. Study comes just as Europe is about to change the PHEV regulations, with the industry lobbying to maintain the current highly inaccurate numbers. Of course they would. Why change anything? Keep making money. There are a lot of different types of electric vehicles out there, enough to confuse even those who follow the industry. You got battery electric vehicles, fuel cell electric vehicles, electric range EVs. I'm not entirely sure what the EV is here. PHEV is plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. Extended range EV. Yeah, extended range EV. So it's a Rex. And so on. What we have never seen is a FCEV Rex, which is stupid. Because at least then you could try and make the hydrogen story work. Oh yeah, you go on a long trip, just goose it up with hydrogen. No long trip, it's a battery electric vehicle, no big deal. And so on. Here, electric, they tend to prefer to report on battery vehicles. Yeah, same here with Kacey Green. Another option favored by some are plug-in hybrids with both the ICE and EV powertrains side by side. It's the only way I've seen it done so far. It's given off battery or engine, theoretically adding. So he's talking about Rexes and E-Revs. Unlike conventional hybrids that get 100% of their energy from gasoline, plug-in hybrids can get some of their energy from the grid, produced with more economical and low-carbon methods, or the exact same methods at a huge efficiency boost over trying to do it locally while on the go. or even rooftop solar, allowing others to become self-sufficient and create their own fuel, which is the part that scares them the most. And it doesn't scare the legacies; they could care less. Um, but it does scare any legacies that are getting a little bit of a boost from the combustion industry. Combustion manufacturers also like PHEVs because it means they get to keep selling engines, an incredibly complex piece of machinery that has been refined over the last century, leaving those with the intellectual property necessary to build one loath to surrender their long-held trade secrets. As we keep seeing with Japan, but finally, slowly going EV. Well, the problem with PHEVs is that despite them being thought of as futuristic technology, they still rely on the same old polluting engines that combustion cars rely on. Worse, they catch fire more for some reason. Let's see. In theory, they can and should be driven on electric power most of the time, but they aren't because it's so inconvenient to charge them with their short range that if you don't have a solid place to park with electricity, like if you live in an apartment or condo, it's less likely to happen. Especially if you have to go somewhere and wait minutes to hours to get it done. While we were out after getting the tire fixed, we went over to the local supercharger, which is always slam full. Waited in line for a few minutes and plugged in, and then we sat there for a while. Didn't need to do it, but my wife was already in the area doing stuff, and the kiddos. What did we do? I think we watched their favorite music videos in YouTube while getting a free charge. And when we were done, said, "Hey, you're next." To a lady who wasn't paying attention. Actually beeped the horn at her until she said, "Beep beep." Nothing. Beep beep beep. Oh, hey, yeah, your turn. And then it's kind of a good thing I did because then as I was leaving, another Model Y came in, and had I not let her know, she wouldn't have been in motion towards the spot in time to not lose the spot because she was like off to the side reading a book, and it would have looked like she wasn't waiting for a charge. Anyway, where were we with that? Oh yeah, so the whole point on that is that we saw some people who, I don't know if we saw them at the charger or if we saw them leaving the charger. Some folks that were like at apartment complexes that own a Model 3 or Model Y, but you can tell that it's one of the ones that doesn't have any provisions for charging your car at home. They don't have the garage. They don't have the community charging stations at the buildings or up front. So with a Tesla, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the charging station, to the supercharger. Then there was a Mercedes charge point that came up a little while ago at the same site. I saw a Hummer EV that looked like it's owned by a friend of mine, but I didn't see him anywhere around. So I did say, "Hey, I'm in town. What's up?" But that one didn't look free. Otherwise, I would have whipped out my CCS charger because that one's almost always empty. But opportunity charging free matters over, hey, I need a charge and I've got the adapters. Well, I didn't need the charge, but again, I was sitting still near free electricity, so load it up. Let's see. I've seen several studies before that show the plug-in hybrids use more gasoline and produce more emissions than claimed. These studies have mostly suggested that PHEVs don't get plugged in as much as they should. Yeah, for that same reason. Like if you got to take a detour and then wait, and your car can just keep going on gas, we've seen time and again, so many people are just gonna just keep going on gas. And yes, even they will sometimes plug in if there's, hey, I'm at that same mall and it's free, I'm gonna plug in. Or hey, I'm at that same mall and when I plug in, I get an extra week on my gas tank. All right, let me do it. But like, hey, it's a company car. They don't have chargers at work. They're not subsidizing my electricity. I'm not plugging this thing into my house. that is the mindset of many, and I get it. It's but that's another reason why the PHEV is not something that we advocate here on the macro level. Again, on the local level, I know lots of people who bought a Volt and only use the engine when the maintenance cycles come up and when they go on long road trips. But otherwise, they're EVing it the whole way. People like me. But most people don't have that patience, especially when the range is just teeny tiny. A new study by Fraunhofer Institute shows that the average in average operation, PHEVs on average use 3 times as much fuel as the government estimates suggest, and they even use more fossil fuels in electric power mode than previously claimed. Really, I didn't. Oh, you know why? Because in electric power mode, they're probably using. They're probably not as fuel efficient as claimed either. So, if you're not as fuel efficient, you're going to burn more electricity. And if your electricity is fossil powered, then they're going to use more there too. The study used onboard fuel consumption monitoring from 981,035 vehicles across Europe. With the data set that enormous, it's naturally covered a wide variety of models and usage patterns. The headline suggests that the PHEVs were found to use over 300% times as much fuel as the EU's previous regulations claimed they do. Wow. So we've got a table here showing their actual consumption. I smell lunch. She's getting it early on the lunch. Somebody doesn't want to leave the house today. Let's see. The tested vehicles were supposed to get an average of 1.57 liters per 100 kilometers, or 150 miles per gallon equivalent. But instead, they were found to use an average of 6.12. Oh my goodness, 6.12 liters per 100 kilometers, or about 38 miles per gallon equivalent. So just like every other study shown before, it's like they never get plugged in. And like I said about all of my Volts, I called them Fat Prius. Why did I call them Fat Prius? Because when they were in gas mode, it was like a heavy, sluggish Prius. And I mean, it was still faster, more responsive, but it didn't like it was night and day difference between EV mode and Rex mode. But it felt like going back to my Prius. So I called it Fat Prius because it was heavier and you could feel it. By going further into the data, the Fraunhofer Institute also analyzed how much fuel was used in charge depleting mode, or in other words, plug-in hybrid mode where it's just become a hybrid, aka Fat Prius mode. A PHEV mode where the battery is being drained rather than being sustained with the engine. Most PHEV have a way to switch between these modes, which is especially important in Europe, where many city centers limit the use of combustion engines and require PHEVs to run in battery mode. Oh, mountain mode is what my Volts called it specifically. You could hold the charge level. Oh, no. They had mountain mode, but they also had hold mode. Hold mode is where you could just lock it wherever it was to save a little bit, so you could do something like a New York or a London situation where you want to be able to run an electric, so you don't have to pay extra. The data shows that even when in battery using mode, PHEVs use more fuel than the WLTP testing would suggest, which suggests 1.57 liters per 100 kilometers. But the average amount of fuel used in charge depletion mode was 2.98 liters per 100 kilometers. So not as bad as the other mode, but goodness gracious. Almost double, meaning the engine was coming on more often than estimated. This is exceptional given that WLTP is supposed to measure average usage between both. I wonder if they've uncovered a cheating ring like we saw with Volkswagen and the others. The data shows that we read that one. The exceptional it's supposed to measure average usage between battery and combustion modes, and even in the cleaner of the two modes. PHEVs still manage to use more fuel than the WLTP averages would suggest. The study also breaks down the problem model by model, with some models being charged more often than others. Well, yeah, like I said, you're going to find a company car is going to get charged a lot less than the others. So Porsche had 94 vehicles. Ferrari had 12. Bentley. So some of these you expect to not get plugged in. Well, maybe not the Bentley, but you might expect the others not to get plugged in just because they only got it so they could have it on paper and they don't need the savings. Well, the savings aren't worth it. I'm not saying that they're the ones at fault, though. Just they would be the ones to come to mind. Typically, more budget-focused brands were charged more often. Yeah, that's what I just predicted. Whereas luxury brands were charged for, some being charged almost not at all. This is actually somewhat interesting. The cost of installing a charger at home could be more difficult for low-income folks. Yeah. But you don't need a charger at home. You just need electricity at home. Especially if one lives in an apartment or parks on the street. That's the killer right there. Those who can afford a Porsche, Bentley, or Ferrari ought to be able to easily absorb the cost of installing a charger and being more likely to have their own garage to charge it in. Mm-hmm. But those three brands are on top of the list for the least charged vehicles. The study calls out Porsche specifically as particularly striking, stating that the average Porsche in the database was only charged for a total of about 7 kilowatt hours worth of electricity over a distance of 17,000 miles. So did these people only plug it in for like a maintenance cycle, or while I bet you what happened is while it was at the dealership plugged it in. Interesting. And pudding. Thank you. Interesting. All right, let's see here. Open this back up. And fingerprint. Oh, you see your mommy? You see your mommy? You had a good nap? Okay. 7 kilowatt hours. That's ridiculous. That's like one charge. Literally. That had to be while it's in service. Over a distance of 17,000 miles. Or maybe if not at the dealership, it could also be them just testing it out. Like, hey, what's it behave like when I do this? Oh, I don't have 3 hours to deal with this. And then they don't. But had it been a Volt and they could feel the difference between EV mode and Fat Prius mode, those jokers would get plugged in a lot more. Unless they're company cars. But if your company car is a Porsche, Bentley, or what was the other one? You probably have somebody to charge it for you anyway. So inaccurate WLTP estimates are nothing new. A study points out that combustion engine vehicles use about 20% more real world usage than the government estimates, but not 300 though. A gap of over 300 is more severe. It makes it hard to regulate something that when the estimated numbers are so wildly different from reality. I hope that they look at this study because goodness gracious. Thankfully, the EU already knows this problem and is taking some measures to fix it. This comes in the form of adjusting the utility factor for PHEVs, and that's what the manufacturers are fighting. They don't want to change anything. A planned change in the PHEV utility factor was supposed to be implemented in EU's. Sorry for all the plosives. With the monster grabbing the mic, I just put it back in front of my face, and then I got all these peas. Okay. Which would give PHEVs far less credit than they currently get in terms of emissions reductions and bring these numbers closer to reality. The The 2025 regulations still leave a 98% gap between regulations and reality. Oof. Oof. I can't think it do better. They have all these great mathematicians. Politics. It's got to be the politics. Proposed utility factor changes have been targeted by automaker lobbying, who seek to maintain the gobs of extra credit they are getting for selling vehicles that apparently pollute over 3 times as much as they've claimed. They want to roll back current and planned utility factor changes and carve out a long-term role for vehicles that still rely on combustion engines. We've seen other analyses showing the gap between estimates and the real world is growing for PHEVs, and it's due to unrealistic utility factor calculations. Some other suggestions used to correct for this gap have been suggested, but namely display transparency, which would allow drivers to see what percentage of the time their cars are used in electric versus fossil, or inducement, which would force drivers to charge their cars at least every 500 kilometers. Huh. I would say on a PHEV, if you're going to force the drivers to charge their cars, the same way that you force them to run the engine, if they're not doing that, 500 is quite short. Maybe 1,000 kilometers or 1,500 kilometers. Because the time you're not going to charge is on a trip. Unless, hear me out, they stop including level 2 only freaking charging on these things. And if you could DC fast charge it on a trip and go a decent distance, then people will still use it while they're on the road. And then 500 is very reasonable. But if it takes you 4 to 12 hours to recharge and it only does it at level 2 speeds, 500 is too short. Just saying. Top comment by EV Wisconsin says, in plug-in hybrid Mazda, can't be bothered to plug into a completely free L2 charger, but happy to block an EV from charging. They charge work flawlessly too. I use them frequently. So I think that's in the middle of a conversation. But yeah, that's super annoying when you got a PHEV wasting an EV charging spot like it's a parking spot. And thankfully, some jurisdictions have protections against that in the form of fees and tickets. Season fries. A little, I don't want to say crispy, but smoky burnt tasting. Okay. Studies suggest that both of these would only result in minor reductions in real-world emissions, and that the utility factor corrections would have a far greater effect, and concludes that planned adjustments must not be eliminated or reduced as automaker lobbying currently targets. Yeah, agreed. Oh, it's a picture, that's why. Yeah, that would annoy the heck out of me as well. I commented in a different article, I have experience with the Outlander PHEV. In the summer, it works as intended, but in the winter, it's nearly impossible to keep the gas engine off because the car wants to heat to warm the battery pack. Worse, once the gas engine starts, you want to get it up to operating temperature to preserve the life of the gas engine. When I had Chevy Volt, it did the same thing. As soon as the temperature hit freezing, the gas engine would come on. It would run for at least a few miles when it came on. In Fat Prius mode. Because even, well, I say that. It had a couple modes where it was just running the engine. And then it wasn't quite Fat Prius mode. It was just disconcerting because it wasn't using anything of what it was doing back into the battery pack. It was just wasting it. And so you had a vibration and a gyration effect going on while it was still being an EV. And depending on what speeds you were running, it was still, it had to keep the engine still. So it even in those modes, it wasn't pleasant to drive. It just was less not pleasant than when in true Fat Prius mode. That's why BEVs use heat pumps to warm or cool the battery are the most efficient. Yes, and mine doesn't have heat pumps. So that's why it's so much less efficient than the new one. Love to see a comparison between the battery size and utility factor. I'd also love to see a legend for these cryptic abbreviations on each chart. That was me too. That's why I skipped all the charts, because I was like, what are they showing us here? I said some of the relevant abbreviations in text and linked the full study if you'd like to dig in. Yeah, but you should just put them on the chart or put a table under the chart instead of having to have us refer to the text back and forth on a table that takes up a full screen. My brother. Another previous study did say utility factor is higher for PHEVs with larger batteries. Go figure. I don't believe that was covered in this study. Yeah, they probably had to control their variables. With batteries and new models now exceeding 80 kilowatt hours, I imagine some will have very high utility factor in the future. That would be fine. Out of interest, which PHEV has such a big battery? That's a good question, because for me, pickup trucks. Everything else, I don't know. Let's find out. He says the Leap Motor D19 and D99 and the Xiaomi YU9 and several GWM models also have 80 kilowatt hour packs. Sticking with big names like the Zeekr 9X is 70 kilowatt hours. So all Chinese stuff. Which legacy's got it? Oh, I'm glad I followed this thread. Not surprisingly, just the Chinese. Though at this battery size, maybe only a small range extender would make sense. You can do a lot with 80 kilowatt hours when you consider that there's plenty of Teslas that only have like a 72 to 78 kilowatt hour main pack and no combustion engine. I also imagine with an 80 kilowatt hour pack that they did not make the mistake of making it level 2 only. And with them being Chinese, I bet you it uses the GBT high speed DC charging. I think I need to make myself a to-do to just turn off that tablet screensaver garbage. Let's see. Too many people buy these PHEVs when they have two cars in a garage. The smart move is to have one electric gas and one gas car. I would do one electric and one hybrid gas car. That way you get the best of everything. And except I have two electric cars and one gas car. I rarely use a gas car, but still find myself using it for 10% of the miles. That's super high. Long trips mainly on the gas car, but with the electric, it's better. What are your electric cars while you're doing this? You preheat it in the garage, so no gas station visits, no oil changes, no smog checks. I just had to do my renewal on my plates, and I got charged a $50 if you have an electric car charge. Like I said, it's not as bad as some of the ones I've been charged in the past at $500. So $50, fine, whatever. But some of them it's extra $100, $200, $300, $400, and there are enough of these $500 that are out there that's like, we need you to charge your fair share. Well, my fair share is not this. You need to look at the driving and come up with a number that you just pull out of your nether regions. Anyway, so, yeah, that guy got me distracted. Tend to agree with you there, if for no reason other than to get the fence sitters. Yeah, those are the ones I would say it to. The people who are all gas right now, keep one gas and keep on going. Everybody else, you don't need to go add a gas car because that's Add. Anyway, I had 2 EVs and now I just have my Bolt and a Mitsubishi Mirage G4. They'll get 40 plus miles per gallon highway. Yes, it still pollutes, but still stopping to charge on a long trip is the same as stopping for gas. I prefer to use it for gas on long trips, but prefer the EV for everything else. I'm wondering what these people's model is for a gas stop, because once you add the kiddos, you're going to be stopped for a minute. And I have, unless they've been asleep the whole time, which happens sometimes, unless they've been asleep the whole time, I have not found a stop where with the kiddos it was shorter than the car wanted to charge with. So I imagine the gas would be worse, because now not only are we just not parking and plugging and going about our business, one of us has to stick back and hold a dirty nozzle for about 5 to 8 minutes, deal with the receipt machine and the screaming, blaring advertisement, and hoping that somebody hasn't skimmed your credit card, debit card, whatever, or go inside, wait for the magic line that appears for no reason, go pump, come back, wait to the next magic line, get your change back. I mean, if you don't go to the bathroom, you don't eat, and you're by yourself, I can see the gas 8 minutes being faster than the electric 20, but 15 to 20. But I mean, you park at the back forecourt, you plug in, you gather everybody, you get all the bathrooms done, you get the food, you get back to the car, you wrestle everybody back in the seatbelts, and then you look at the screen and the car said, "Yeah, you could have left 6 minutes ago." Oh, great, thanks. I have 2 EVs, 1 PHEV, which is fantastic. I'm back in a full ICE now because of depreciation on EV and the higher cost to buy. I wasn't going to get another new one anyway. I just don't want another full EV. Love another PHEV like the i3 Rex 33, just a little bit larger. The depreciation is real. And these folks and their obsession with the gas tells me that they may not have home charging. I'd say the smart thing to do is have no gas car. Yes, I agree, Jameson. But if people still need training wheels, then they can replace one gas car, and then the other once they realize they don't need the gas anymore. Yeah, I like that. That's what I was thinking the whole time reading those people. As someone with kids who road trips at least a few times a year, we don't have the infrastructure or range to support that with just an EV yet. As someone with kids who road trips all the day at gun time, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I had an easy time road tripping with EVs, and my understanding is that in Europe, where the study was done, has a much more developed EV charging network than the US. Also true. I don't disagree. You may have had a decent time. I definitely have not. Maybe a typical, but stopping nearly every 200 to 250 miles, really shorter, since I don't have the confidence the charger will be available and working. So obviously you weren't driving a Tesla or anything that can supercharge. And 200 to 250 miles, I don't know if people know how long their tanks really last. There are a lot of gas cars with 220 miles driving range. Yes, it's more typical to see a 350 to 450, but they're not as common as you actually think. Sometimes confidence charger, and the gaps between fast chargers is usually enough that you have to leave decent leave decent charge if you want to be able to make it to the second choice. It sounds like your problem is you chose a non-road trippable EV or stuck to a network that sucks. And yes, when the article was written about Europe, I was actually talking about road tripping in the US. Again, there are 3 large charging networks in the US. You've got, well, I guess more than 3, but the 3 that anybody could use without extra effort. You've got the Tesla Supercharger network. You've got not EVgo, the Electrify America, and IANA is growing up as well. There are others out there regionally. I'd say there are at least 6 to 10 nationwide networks or large regional networks. And I'm guessing you might have rented one or just been really bad at road tripping. Or some of these folks have the same problem I have, where they think that time is a lot shorter than it really has been, and they might be comparing an early situation to something that isn't that early, something that's not current. That's what I'm saying. For instance, somebody made a video and they said, yeah, about 15 years ago in 1990. It's like, it feels that way to me, but I know that's wrong. And then when you look at things like the launch of the Cybertruck was 4 years ago now, and okay, not really all that long, but 3 years ago. But it feels like it's only been out for a year. Anyway, the smart thing is not to have 3 to 4 vehicles, even if EVs. It depends on your needs. But yes, one reply. I don't disagree. You may have had a decent time. Okay, so I see it's collapsing. Where I live, the cost of charge on public DC chargers makes it a lot more expensive than petrol. That's another problem. So PHEV makes a lot of sense, and I had an EV, and I wouldn't like to go back to using public chargers again anyway. PHEV could make all my driving needs with no inconvenience at all. Yeah, but see, the thing is that the cheap fuel thing, it's not going to last forever. So eventually, you'll get it the same way on your PHEV, only at the liquid pump. I did the charge point thing for 9 years and got tired of it. Yeah, see, a lot of these people are doing public charging for their main charging. Cost of charge of public DC charge makes it a lot more expensive than petrol. Where are you? What are your costs per gallon and per kilowatt hour? He's probably right on the DC charging price is probably ridiculous, depending on where he lives. You see no inconvenience at all plugging in a PHEV. Great, so you claim you get tired of doing it with an EV. Because he's one of the people in the study that never plugs in the PHEV. That's why. Let me try to make sense for you. PHEV means no inconvenience waiting around at public chargers. You can simply drive off on petrol versus spend up to 1 hour at public charge point or more if there's a queue. Sure. EV means I have the inconvenience of public chargers when I might not want to, which is often the case. Do you not have a home base with electricity? I'm not judging you if you don't, but you're talking like you do, and then you just never plug it home. But the way you describe it, you don't have home charging. Or the ability to plan a trip with an app. Don't appeal to me at all. With the 70, we had the 77 kilowatt hour Volkswagen. There we go. So they were probably on Electrify America, and since they made it sound like it's far ago, it was probably like a 2016 VW electric. I didn't enjoy it all, and after 9 years, yep, it was longer ago than he thinks it is in real life. I didn't want to do it any longer. Someone's happy to do it, and good for them. Different strokes. Your comments are studies in logical fallacies, but this is also how normal people think. So the manufacturers need to be ready for a CB radio. Bouncing from speculation to anecdotal experiences isn't bringing anything productive to the conversation, and the conclusions that you've already decided you're going to try to support, no matter what evidence actually says, are also flawed. You're free to disagree, but nothing I said was speculation. I described my own experience. Well, it's a little bit. My own experience and why PF suits my use case better. It kind of is when you're comparing 9 years ago to today. 2 replies. Spent up to 1 hour at a charge point. This is speculation, or if it actually, no, I'm sure he did. But again, 9 years ago, he spent an hour at a charge point. It's cherry picking, which is another logical fallacy. So you may not be purposely cherry picking. That might just be the worst experience and it stands out in his head. And then he accidentally thinks that it happens more often than it really does. Or maybe it happened twice and he thinks that too many of them are that way. The reality for overwhelming vast majority of the public charging sessions is that they don't take anywhere near an hour. Absolutely, yeah. You don't need to charge to full. Yeah, different vehicles suit different people. On this, we are in complete agreement, but that means everyone get in and do what's best for you. For me, avoiding reliance on public charging, exactly. Your decision was mainly influenced by your personal feelings, not empirical or objective facts or statistics, and its poor choice of vehicle and charging network versus where you're trying to go. Volkswagen now is on the supercharger network, so I won't begrudge you that. But 9 years ago, Volkswagen was not a good experience to drive cross country in. It's okay that you got what you wanted. You don't have to pretend feelings are facts to justify the decision. There is that. Once feelings are involved, there really isn't any way to move the discussion forward, especially when you're employing logical fallacies such as hyperbole, and if not speculation and then cherry picking. I'm not trying to argue with you or insult you. I'm just using words according to the definitions. I think he's a little bit on the edge there. It's looking like we're done here. You love your hybrids. Great. I'm happy for you. But trying to spin your feelings as reasons you chose hybrid for your use case into facts. He is doing a little bit of that to support your decision when you clearly admitted this. An emotional decision is wheel spinning at best. And again, choosing the wrong car, the wrong era, and the wrong routes, and the wrong charging network. Then the ICE can run on biofuel. Where can you buy biofuel in North America for a production car? I'm not talking that E10 garbage that we have everywhere, or E15, the ethanol, gasohol. No, I'm talking like the biofuel he's claiming like you can make the veggie oil at home. There are very few diesel plug-in hybrids out there. Let's see. Compressed hydrogen or even e-fuel. E-fuel is a scam. We've discussed this before. It's going to stay a scam. It's the manufacturers are trying to do what Jameson there pointed out in the article. They want to keep doing what they've always done without having to make new investments. And so e-fuel, aka making your fuel from carbon capture and dreams, is going to no, like you can really buy real e-fuel, but e-fuel at scale is not going to happen. And that's another form of lobby. It's just not directly on the politicians. And then, so what they promise is they'll extract your combustion back out of the atmosphere somewhere else in the world, bottled up, and put it back in the fuel, so that it's a net zero cycle. But that's not real. Just ask Patrick or read one of his articles over at carsofcourse.net, or look at Brian's videos on the numbers on this, and you'll see that carbon capture is fairy dust. It's not real. I mean, it exists, but it does not succeed at the mission. But anyway, so their whole idea is that you can use this artificial fuel, and if the numbers worked, okay, but they don't. But even if they did work, it still means that somewhere locally you're putting out a lot of pollution, right at like kids' face level. So come on now. My EV has 400 miles of range, which is a bit more than my bladder. Never going back to gas. See, that's the other part of it. You got to pick the right car for your needs and your use case. Mine never got the 300 miles it was supposed to. It was supposed to get 289. It never did. And I think now I'm down to 246, and I do get that sometimes, but again, you got to account for everybody's bladder, and thankfully the charging network for me is super dense, and I end up stopping probably every 200 miles just for convenience and comfort. But I think our longest trip was, let's go get some real data, see how long our longest trip was. I'm going to open this in a new tab on the same glasses just so I don't have to look for it or deal with the fingerprints on the glasses that little munchkin did for me. Let's do, are we going to do Tesla, Telescope? Who are we going to use? Let's do Telescope. Sign in. Sign in with Tesla, Google, or direct. Let's sign in direct. Oh, you've lost my connection? Vehicle connection required with a virtual key. There are no virtual keys for a legacy car. Data streaming not enabled. Data streaming is required to keep your vehicle connected to the platform. For legacy S and X vehicles, this must be enabled inside the vehicle. I must have missed an email. All right, I'll deal with that later. But I do have Tessie and Tessify. I'll leave this open so I remember to do it. But my longest drive won't have been since they lost connection to the car. So let's click on lifetime, I guess. Should have done was trips. You've driven 100,380.32 miles throughout 5,540 driving sessions. It's been 123 days and 1 hour on the road since you lost contact. I'm actually at 111,000 miles, so it's been disconnected for a minute. Average speed is 27 miles an hour. Longest duration is 1 day on the road. That's true. 24 hours straight. Average duration is 31 minutes. Also true. Yeah, I need to go to another source. Let's go to. I want to do Tesla. Let's do Teslafy. And then we'll sign in. Not with that. That's a not useful sign in. There you go. That's the real sign in. Sign in. It autofills a username that doesn't work. It's 100 degrees in the car right now. Only 66 outside, though. Right, let's go to drives, lifetime. I don't need the map, but it does come with certain realities on it. Rated range right now is 187.86 miles at 75% charge. Useful energy remaining is 66.1 kilowatt hours. I have a P66D. I can go 195.24 miles estimated the way I've been driving it. So I actually drive better than, even with FSD, I actually drive better than the rating. Huh? Neat. All right. For 7,405 drives, I've driven 111,977 miles. Rated miles used, 137,474. So you add all of my trailering in there, it makes sense that I've used so much more. The watt hours per mile, because we're still in the cold season, is 419 watt hours per mile. Added some more towing. Usually I'm in like the 300s, which is great for something so large. Efficiency, 81.45%. Kilowatt hours used, 46,895. So 46.895 megawatt hours. Average speed of 39 miles per hour. Average temp of 65.15. Total cost estimated at $6,329 of fueling. Time spent driving 119 days, 17 hours, and 7 minutes. Lifetime energy used 48.62414 megawatt hours. Wow. A nice, beautiful map of everywhere I've taken this car. And only this car. Sometimes the Model S gets to creep in there, and I don't see any of the Model S tracks on this map that you guys can't see because I don't have it on my screen. What I was looking for, and I'm sure they have a quick find for it. Let's do tire pressure graph, odometer, hidden drive, shared drive, locations, auto tag, road trips. Saved road trips. Nope. Drives. Search and download, speed and efficiency, temperature, drive summary. Excuse me, supercharger invoice list. I should only have like 3 of those. Battery report, add a charge download, charge summary. Let's do the battery report just because I'm curious, but I think the charge one is the one I wanted. So my battery degradation should have a little hitch in it from where I got the new battery. I don't have that. It just starts with the new battery. Interesting. I kind of wanted to see it adjust. All right, so this battery at 100% range estimate is at or above the fleet average, depending on where on the map you check it. You got year markers. Yep. I haven't had this new battery for a whole year yet. Nearly so. No fleet data at your current odometer reading. High range versus low range. High range 259.53. Low range 253.02 with a range loss of 6.1%, loss of 2.51%. High range versus current range. High range of 259.53, current range of 256.2, range loss of 3.33 or 1.28%. Starting range versus current range 258.79. Okay, so this battery, when it was new, could do what the car was advertised to do. Even though my original one could not, by 3 miles short. This one was all over it. 259, 258.79 rounds up to 259 cleanly. Wait, sorry, 289. So now this one sucked too. Percent loss, 1%. Custom graphs. I'm not messing with custom graphs. Data points. Don't need those. Right, let's go to the charge summary, I guess. No, that's just where I charged it at. Wow. So 17 of those megawatt hours were at my own house. Then another 8 of those megawatt hours were at my rental house. Oh, the one where we were renting from somebody else. The average time spent charging at home is only 30 minutes, though. And still a whole megawatt hour from my mom's house at average 2 hour. Hers is at a slower speed, which makes sense, but faster than the townhouse because the townhouse was 5 hours, 16 minutes. Hers is 1 hour, 55 minutes. And then a lot of supercharging in Virginia because I did a little bit of what that guy was complaining about. I do not recommend that you go in blind or rose-colored glasses or doe-eyed or just optimistic about what it's going to be like charging exclusively publicly. It's not good. I did it because I'm a dedicated nerd, but yeah. Well, we even got 5 hours of charging at the apartment before they tore up the parking garage and hoodwinked us. So we picked up, we paid for parking in the parking garage at the apartment, and we paid extra for a spot that was near a plug. And then the same extension cord I had to use looked exactly like the one that belonged to the construction crew. So I didn't want them to steal my cord. So I thought I did more charging than that. I know I charged at least 3 times there. But apparently only 5 hours and 30 minutes got logged. Now, I don't want the charging graph. I want the records. Where are those at? Controls, calendar. Maybe it's the drives report. Speed efficiency is not what I want. Not road trips. Odometer graph, tires. Maybe it's the drive summary. It used to be so much easier just to find your records without. Oh, there we go. Leaderboard. Yeah, let's do leaderboard. Because there's longest drives. Longest drives, highest odometer, unique superchargers. I'm curious where I am on the unique superchargers. Let's take a look. Okay, I clicked on unique superchargers and it gave me longest drives. These are all new because they all have the cool batteries. Let's do XP100D and I should show up. It's thinking about it. To filter bias, guys, is it's fun. While we wait on that, let's do. Those are fleet statistics, software comparison, my software updates. I got another one the other day. There's minor features. Okay, longest drives. Oh, I am top 3 for longest drives. Look at that. Longest drives on the XP100D. That also answers my question. How long I've gone in between charges. Specifically, I drove for 3 hours and 43 minutes, or 45 minutes, sorry. I had an elevation drop of 2,121 feet at 48 degrees Fred on software update. Oh, no, on date 2019, January 5th. Average speed of 66 miles per hour. I used 87.84 kilowatt hours. My battery doesn't even hold that anymore. So clearly I drove to 0. Watt hours per mile was just 362, which is high for me, but not for that temperature. And let's see. An efficiency of 89.3%. I went 242.67 miles. Look at that. All right, so now let's do unique superchargers. All right, so for the P100Ds, I'm number 3 there as well. I've visited 190 different superchargers. Oh, MrSupercharger.com has got a little bit of competition from P85 and Gablier P100D, though. Wow. 190. I knew it was high, but wow. All right. Let's do all Model X's and see if I still make the chart. Nope. So my 190 to this guy's 288. No, those are watt hours per mile. Superchargers where? Oh, it reset. Okay. Unique superchargers. All Model X's. I still make the chart. I'm like 3 scrolls down though. This guy right here, he must be like trying to get a token. He has gapped us all 10 times more than me, almost 20 times more than me. A Tesla user, I don't know if that is one person or if it's a amalgamation of people who quit the service. Oh, you know, it is probably someone who didn't share their name. But is it one or is it more than one of them? That's the question. X-Plaid, 272. It looks like I'm the highest P100D though. We go fast, we don't go far. P90D? Oh man, no, there's a P100D above me. But that's the guy who's above me in the other chart anyway. So there'd be one more. Because I was number 3, right? So P90D, 100D, long range plus. That was a short-lived trim. P90D, 100D, 90D. There I am. 190. All right, now highest odometer of all Model X's. I'm not going to be there because look at him. Oh, but I should be on the list though, I would think. Nope. This guy's pushing 200K. Both of these guys. All 3 of these lowest guys. Okay. And this one is newer than mine because it just says performance. Wow. Okay. Let's do. Adjust the search again. So what I say was 260 something. So yeah, would be a plaid, long range, refresh. Yeah, so everybody's just got a better car than me to be that much longer than me. X100D is my class, but it doesn't have the large rear motor. Goodness gracious, they were doing 6 hours and like, ooh, I couldn't do that. I mean, I guess I could do that. I wouldn't want to do that 6 hours straight. 6 hours and 1 minute, 120.9% efficiency. 267 watt hours per mile. You realize this thing weighs 6,000 pounds. Nice. They used 88.13. Okay, so the energy use was not that much more than me. This was 2021. 70 degrees Fahrenheit. It's a lot easier to do it there, but they did climb though the whole time. Compared, it's relatively flat. Okay. Let's go back to P100Ds again. Wait for the load. I was third there too, so I'm just third across the board. Oh, not just third. Third, sixth. I'm rocking the chart for P100Ds, baby. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. All right, so as much as I complain about it being a limp battery, it'll still put out. So that was 2019, 2022, 2021, 2019. I'm looking to see if there's any of them are new. 19, 2021. Oh, 2019 is me. All right. And my odometer, we determined I was. Oh, no, we didn't determine because it reset when I did it. So of the P100Ds, I'm a leader, but not at the top of the pack. 110. Well, why do you say 110? It's how often do you refresh? Or are you broken as well? Tesla app. Oh, I rounded up to 111. So 110, 631. Okay, you're still connected. Good. All right, but even if it was my roundup, it would still be right in the same spot. But Richard P is catching up to me. All right, so that was a fun little excursion. Now we're going to talk about the final topic that I had set up for the notebook. So we talked about last week, we talked about IF metal and their sympathy strikes. And now I had made a comment about how IG metal didn't want to get involved in the illegality of sympathy strike to help out IF metal because they had their own situation going on at Tesla Germany that they wanted to deal with, Tesla Berlin. However, they were quite fine with a different form of law breaking. So let's take a look at IG metal. All right. Money control. Germany's IG metal preparing union busting case against Tesla. Yes, they were doing that. However, is this the same one? I think it is the same one. Before it's news, Tesla Giga Berlin plant manager faces defamation probe after IG. Interesting. So Electrek is, I'd say, neutral on this because, the amount of times people say that Fred is pro or anti Elon. So we'll pull that one up. We'll pull up the before it's news because that sounds like nothing I've heard from the reporting so far. Money control, that sounds more just from the money side of it. And then we'll pull up the Teslarati. And just in case, we'll pull up electricvehicles.com. Let's do Automotive World instead of the other one. They're more familiar to me. Now, let's see. And this first search is exactly what it's about. In Germany, you're not allowed to surreptitiously record private conversations like this. And so people ask, did IG Metal record a work council meeting? In March of 2025, the union accused Tesla of withholding sick employees' pay and pressuring them to come to work. Tesla factory manager Andre Thierk earlier this month publicly accused IG Metal representative of secretly recording a work council meeting, prompting police investigation. So that's what I'm talking about right there, the police investigation. So let's start with the Electrek one, just because it's closest in tabs to where we are. We'll close that search. Tesla calls the police on IG Metal rep at, and so IG Metal is the German one, and IF Metal is the Swedish one. At Giga Berlin Works Council meeting before critical vote. You see why they say that Fred is not completely neutral. And I do want to see what they say about this Cybertruck article here on the 19th and the 20th. All right, so we've got Tesla filed a criminal complaint, called police to its Gigafactory Berlin, accusing IG Metal union rep of secretly recording a closed works council meeting on Tuesday. Police seized the representative's laptop, and the incident comes just 3 weeks before roughly 11,000 employees vote in a works council election that could shape the future of the plant. Now, IG Metal doesn't have the majority of representation on the works council board, but they do have the largest of the unions represented on the board. So, depending on what happens in their case here, that could change. The confrontation marks the latest and most dramatic escalation in the increasingly bitter fight between Tesla and Germany's most powerful industrial union at the automaker's only European factory. Car factory? Let's call it that. I'm pretty sure they still have more factories in Europe than that. The confrontation marks the latest and most dramatic escalation in the bitter fight. And Tesla plant manager Andre Thierig said an external IG Metal representative attended the Works Council meeting as a guest and was caught recording it with a laptop. Thierig posted on X, what happened today at Giga Berlin is truly beyond words. An external union representative from IG Metal attended a Works Council meeting. For unknown reasons, he recorded the internal meeting and was caught in action. We obviously called the police and filed a criminal complaint. Reportedly. I don't want to say allegedly, because they do have the laptop. But they're alleging that he did that, I guess. Yeah. The union representative reportedly refused to hand over the laptop to cite security. Well, I don't think it works that way. If they got a warrant for your laptop, you got to give it to them. Works Council Chairwoman Michaela Smits then contacted authorities, and police arrived at the Grunide plant on Thursday afternoon to confiscate the computers. That's at the Giga Berlin plant. Under German law, Works Council meetings are strictly non-public, and recording such a session without consent constitutes a criminal offense, as these meetings address sensitive employee matters and internal workplace discussions. Tesla argued that the recording was a serious breach of the confidentiality rules. And if true, then yeah, absolutely. IG Metal has fired back, though. IG Metal has rejected the accusation entirely. IG Metal Tesla Workers Group, GFBB Group, Gigafactory Berlin, what? I guess it's in German, second B, which holds 16 seats on the current Works Council, the largest single faction, but not a majority, has called Tesla's account a brazen and calculated lie. The union framed the incident as a manufactured scandal designed to damage IG Metal's standing ahead of the March 2nd and 4th through 4th election, and announced plans to take legal action against those responsible for what it called a smear campaign. So that's what those before whatever we're talking about. We can skip that article then. And a plant already under mounting pressure. The timing is difficult to ignore. Interesting. Oh, okay. This is in between my glasses. I saw a green line on the monitor. Openly campaigning against IG Metal's majority for months. Yeah, Tesla is historically anti-union, so yeah, they've been campaigning against it. In December, Thierig drew a red line against the union's push for a 35-hour work week, warning that Tesla's US-based leadership would halt expansion plans at the plant. Yeah, Elon would call you guys lazy, and because he wants more than a 40-hour work week because he's a baron. He wants you working 80 hours a week. You want to work 35? He deals with 40. Or not 80. I think he wants 60 hours a week. But anyway. And would halt expansion plans at the plant if the election results favor IG Metal. Tesla even threw a concert for employees featuring rapper Kool Savas, an event widely described as cringe anti-union propaganda, and announced a 4% pay raise without involving the Works Council or the union. This right here, not the highlight, but the 4% unannounced raise. This is part of why IF Metal isn't getting any traction. Is the compensation plan at Tesla Sweden is better than the union contract. So it seems to be working. They want to discourage you from signing up for the union to get a pay cut. The recording incident doesn't exist in a vacuum. Giga Berlin is the only non-union automotive plant in Germany. Tesla has fought to keep it that way since the factory opened. In the 2024 Works Council election, IG Metal won the most individual votes, about 39.4%, but non-union lists secured a combined majority of the seats. The union has been organizing to flip that result in March. Of course they have. Meanwhile, the plant's workforce has been, and that's also why they won't wrap themselves up with IF Metal, is that they have their own battles to fight. And a sympathy strike in Germany while directly against Tesla here, instead of some third party like the electrical workers union on the superchargers, would mean that they have to spend money on PR and resources and time and messaging that they are already engaged in their current battle. So to potentially open themselves up directly for legal ramifications on somebody else's behalf, and they've got enough to cross their own T's and I's, but they don't want that. Had they not been doing this, they might have considered it. The union has been organizing to flip their results in March. Meanwhile, the plant's workforce has been quietly shrinking. A Hanselblatt report, this is one of the newspapers we've looked at in the past on this plant and others, confirmed that Tesla quietly cut 1,700 jobs at Giga Berlin over the past year, reducing the headcount from 12,415 down to 10,703, nearly 14% decline. That lines up with what we see at the service centers, where they constantly get these more than 10% haircuts. They'll hire people back, but not right away, and not before the pain is felt. All while Thurigg repeatedly denied any staff reductions were taking place. The broader market context is grim. Tesla's European sales collapsed 28% in 2025, while Germany is down 48%. And January 2026 brought another brutal decline across major markets, with registrations down 44% in 5 key European countries. All right, so I'll go with the 28% year over year, and I will not really do that much with the January, if it's just January, because January is part of Q1, and we're still in Q1, and look at them a quarter at a time because of the way they report and the way they deliver with that quarter-end push worldwide. A Nordic reputation study released last week ranked Tesla dead last among 30 companies in Germany. I wonder why. I don't really wonder why. We all know why. With the latest, largest reputational collapse of the survey ever recorded in over a decade of research. Yeah. A separate study found 94% of Germans would not consider buying a Tesla. Giga Berlin is now has more production capacity than it needs for a European market that is actively rejecting the brand. All right, let's read the top comment, then we'll read Electric's take. So Chris PNW says, are things much better for Tesla in North America? I just drove past my local Tesla dealership, and it's not a dealership, it's a store, and the lot is chock full of unsold vehicles of every model type. Well, again, it's February and not March, and other than not having license plates on them, how would you know what they are? And is your local store a staging hub where they drop them all off and then they go somewhere else after that? Again, 1 month tells us nothing. So in March, if you see a lot full, like in the last 2 weeks, that's a little more damning than a full lot in February. A few feet later, I glanced at the parking lot of the local cinema, and it was full of the new Tesla's overflow lot. Okay, so it's not like when we were reporting on, who's it, Ford or GM had overflow lots at the local theaters, except that they report monthly, and you can look at when those cars were produced and take a look. Without the federal tax credit, Tesla has very few options left when you're a 100% BEV maker, a highly competitive market. Just make a good car. We're probably a few months away from Tesla announcing a cessation of another vehicle production line to make room for the insatiable demand for the Tesla robot. I hope he's being funny there. So what one would be next? I would say Cybertruck or Model 3 is next. And they have a Model 3 standard, so I would suspect that it would just be Cybertruck if they were to cancel another one. And given the finally properly packaged starting Cybertruck, then it would probably be that one at the end of the week. A few later, against the parking lot. Oh, there are many other levers Tesla can pull to move the growing Model 3 and Y inventory. Yeah, there are. You'd be surprised. So Electric says their take is that the outcome of this recording incident will depend entirely on what investigators find on that laptop. If there is evidence of an unauthorized recording, it will be a genuine scandal for IG Metall and could damage the union's credibility right before the vote. Do they move that fast in Germany? Here in the States, it would be like a year before they even get it done. And then more to actually get the results out. If no evidence supports Tesla's claim, the company will have called the police to a works council meeting, an extraordinarily aggressive move over nothing, and handed IG Metall a powerful campaign talking point about intimidation. Yeah. So hopefully they are running on reasoned data and not rampant speculation, because that would play right into their hands. Regardless of who was telling the truth about Tuesday's events, a bigger picture is hard to miss. Tesla management has spent months threatening workers with disinvestment if they vote the wrong way. Through an anti-union concert, pushed through a pay raise specifically designed to sideline the works council, and have filed a criminal complaint against a union representative 3 weeks before the election. It's not the behavior of a company confident it has the workforce on its side. I think that last bit is a little bit of a stretch, but it is the behavior of a company that really doesn't want to lose to the union. The real question isn't whether someone hit record on a laptop. It's whether Giga Berlin has a viable future at all. The European sales in freefall, the brand's reputation in Germany is at historic lows, and 1,700 jobs already quietly eliminated. The factory looks increasingly redundant. All right, so I'm going to stop him right there. Up until recently, it was the only plant that could sell in Canada without ridiculous markups from tariffs. But the recently part is because now Tesla China can do it to some level. We do have a cap on the number of cars that can come in from China, and we don't yet know if Canada is deciding the mix, if it's a free-for-all, or if China is deciding the mix. And if China's doing it, we don't know if Elon is still neutral to good side with them, or if he's secretly on their bad side again. I'd say he's probably not on their bad side because the plant is doing quite well over there. All right, so let's continue on. If IG Metall wins the March election, Tesla has already preloaded the excuse to scale back. If it loses, the underlying demand problem remains. Either way, roughly 10,700 workers at the plant are caught. Something flapping. Are caught in the middle of a fight that has very little to do with their interests. I also fear that Tesla may use the union vote as a potential excuse to close or scale back Giga Berlin. I could see them doing that. Maybe the scaling back. I don't see them closing the whole plant, because then that would play into IF Metals stuff. Because if it looks like they lost to a union, not just have a union there, just shaking things up, trying to get people to work 5 hours less per week minimum. That would give them some significant ammunition over in Sweden. So this is 3D chess, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments here. I can't write in the comments today again because Facebook or LinkedIn is acting up. Let's see. Are things much better for Tesla North America? Same guy. Yes, the most effective way they can move inventory is by firing the CEO and making a marketing campaign of it. That would, it depends on if the missing people are a significant enough portion of what's happening, or if that's the economy doing it. Because on the stock side and other people who don't like the guy but do like the results might take it as a chance for things to go bad really fast. I think without him, they could be stable, but I don't know. I don't know where they would go from there and then what their focus it would be. I do think that we'd have a lot less of these yo-yo policy changes, and we might finally get back to not everything being a freaking subscription. But that all really is going to depend on how the rest of the industry does on like the subscriptions for your seat heaters or for remote start that we see on other brands trying. But I'd say right now that the industry is quite comfortable with a subscription for some autonomy features. So we might never get that back, even without his pay plan involved. It would have an effect. Would it be good? Who knows? I think even better than that would be him not running filterless around the world. That has done the most damage to his reputation. Okay, let's see. Meanwhile, here in the real world, Tesla removed 0% financing deal in the UK on a long-range model, so I'm going for a dual motor instead. Tesla's sub 50,000 offerings are in demand as vehicle taxes shoot up to almost £700 per year on anything higher, and that's what's slowing sales here on the higher spec models. There's plenty of other offerings avoiding that threshold. Yeah, so it's more nuanced all the way around. Tesla doesn't stockpile cars as a rule. They match orders. The whole parking lot full of Teslas was very popular with Business Insider from 17 to 18. They didn't plan to stockpile. Creating demand caused it. Ignoring the evidence doesn't make it go away. So 28% drop is not a cratering demand. I mean, it's bad, but it's not enough to fill the lot. If anything, it should go from empty to having 28% of the cars on it. I have no idea about lots, but it's false that Tesla doesn't keep inventory. Also true. It's also quite easy to use Tesla's on-site search inventory of already built new vehicles. Also true, although some of the inventory is actually in transit when you click on it. When in Rome, if you don't want works councils, you shouldn't have opened a factory in Germany and then failed to develop any new models to fill it, thus requiring redundancies, which are hard in Germany. The world is not the U.S., and learn that and act accordingly. Otherwise, get out of Dodge. Oh yeah, that's happening already as European consumers have had it with your nonsense. I guess when old firms, I guess you can say legacy companies like BMW and others are rolling out one good BEV model after another. I don't know about that. They are rolling out some good ones though. Like the i3X new class, the public don't have to choose a lot by selecting BMW instead of Tesla. And with all the Musk nonsense on X, the racist stuff, and more, I think Tesla will get even tougher future in Europe. In Europa, I think they sell zero cars in Europa. The moon. I'm guessing that was an autocorrect. Especially when Trump says he hates Europe. Yeah, he does. He hates everybody, not him. And Europe is scamming him. He says that. I don't know if even he believes that. Ref booing at the Olympics when Vance showed his face. And Model Y and 3 are only two models. Yeah, 2.5. We got the Model YL. Is limited to how many cars they can sell from these two models. Maybe the 6-seater long version will make some improvements in sales. But people in Europe don't like companies taking advantage of employees. I don't think anybody does, but it seems people in Europe are less tolerant of, oh, well, let's do it anyway. Quality is more important in most European countries than it is in individualist USA. Recording a meeting is something a lot of people do with automatic transcript. Don't really see that would be a problem. Well, if it's against the law, it's against the law. It should also be forbidden to take notes or to remember anything from the meeting. Everybody needs to bang their head on the floor 32 times before leaving the room so they can't tell any secrets. Not even employees in Tesla know anything before it's forced on their heads. Tesla needs to understand the German culture and hire someone fast. It was Tesla Germany that was complaining about the recording. US-based leadership would halt expansion plans at the plant. Now that's funny. I'm definitely think coming out of Tesla, why would he record via his laptop? If he was in the meeting remote, especially if it's like Teams, there might be just like a recording button on Teams. There certainly is, if he wasn't blocked from doing it. Now, another app. And how would they know? That's another question. I'm glad the police got the laptop and not Tesla security. They would have planted evidence if there was none. I don't know about that, but yeah, it's a good thing that an independent did get a hold of it, because on a password protected laptop, not possible, close to fantasy. It's better that an independent party is doing the investigation. I'd be willing to bet real money on who's lying. I wonder who you bet on. Don't forget the time that Elmo blatantly lied and called the cops on the fake terrorist at the Spark Factory. I don't remember how that one turned out. I do remember him complaining about the time that somebody was chasing his kid or whatever, and it turned out that the security guard was lying to him. Tesla are not the first U.S. car company to fail in Europe. Unfortunately, as they put their factory in Germany, rather than a lower wage EU country, no one else will want to use it. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you guys in Germany are having the same issue that we have of outsourcing to cheaper places, especially ones with no union. I guess it also means we won't get the semi in Europe, which is a shame because there are alternatives. You guys have already got electric semis en masse over there, not from Tesla, but way more selection than we have here. Speaking of, I saw a batteryless Nikola for sale on eBay. They were selling the batteries separate. They were pricey. Semi does not fit in the European truck standards. Yes, it does. It's a truck made for U.S. rules. Did you miss the whole tour of the German plant with the thing when they mentioned it was made for Europe? Minimum turn radius, standard trailer, yeah, whatever. I hope somebody answered him correctly there. Changing the form factor to suit Europe would be much more effortless than you think. The biggest difference between the US and European models are the engine placement and the living quarters, but none of those is directly relevant to an electric lorry as the drivetrain sits low next to the wheels. Same guy. Tesla semis, 2 driven axles, European trucks just 1. That's not true. A lot of European trucks have just 1, but I've seen plenty of European trucks with 2 drive axles. Modify that, you would need a more powerful traction motors, and to get the same power output with half the motors. What are you talking about half? The acceleration axle has 2 motors on it, and the cruising has 1. Nobody has 3 long axle semis in Europe except for special purposes where extra traction is needed. Whole frame is too long. Do you know how long the thing is? It's not that much longer than a cab over. Third, the prototypes had the battery behind the cab. Did they? I didn't see that. I saw them under the cab. European cabs are shorter, have no space for such a battery. There. Are you looking at the wrong truck? I did see some with the battery like in the headache rack position, but that was not a Tesla. If you sleeping compartment behind the seats, there is no sleeping compartment behind the seats on the Tesla right now, because none of them are sleeper cabs. No space to put the battery behind the car, but you get too long with standard trailers. That's factually incorrect. Yes, exactly. There's a plethora of 6x2 and 6x4 tractors in European manufacturers running in Europe. They are popular enough Not only that, but the typical length of these tractors exceed the Tesla Semi's length. Do you even live in Europe? Such trucks may be used for logging in off-road Scandinavia. They have different rules for them. The normal European road truck never has 3 axles because it's unnecessary. I don't think that's accurate. I've watched a couple of European EV truck drivers, and every single one of them had 3 axles. And they weren't doing logging. They were hauling trailers. Just regular like intermodal and grocery and stuff like that. Google search and AI suggest there's at least a plan for European homologation. Yes, there is. There may be a plan, but it's just too long to fit in many yards. I don't know about that. Maybe they do, but with the expansion of the Coca-Cola Christmas truck, there are no US semis used in Europe. I don't know if that's true either. They're definitely not common over there. European rules prevent them from pulling standard trailers. No, they don't. They just have a total length requirement. Which doesn't make sense to use them. European truck cabs are shorter because they have a total length, whereas we have just a trailer length. Shorter, and together with the trailer, they have 16.5 meter length. US Semi would exceed that in combination with a standard trailer. Yeah, we would. But not necessarily the Tesla one. Yeah, but once AFD comes to power, not without help from Elon. So that's the neo-Nazis, I believe. Things will totally change. All these AFD supporters secretly love Elon EVs and aren't buying any until their party takes power. I thought they were. Oh, sorry, sarcasm. Okay, so I thought they were running anti-Tesla billboards, or anti-EV billboards at least. Musk himself is done with making cars. It's a feature where he closes Giga Germany. I could see that, but it only if they were going to put all their robotaxis from China. History seems to repeat itself in many instances, especially when greed is the motivator for corporations. Yep. Strength and power has been unions. Unions for the party in power. Fear of equality on pay, benefits, and livelihood for workers, less profit in their bank account. Hello, who's there? What? What? You're a baby, and I thought you were a big girl. One. Here you go. Okay, so that's enough of this. Since I'm going to have more and more distractions now that both of the little ones are awake. So, with that, I want to thank all of you guys for your time today, and we've had some interesting discussions on. Oh wait, I say that. Let's look at these other articles real quick, just on the price of that Cybertruck. 10 days. Let's say what's different about it. Significant improvement over the previous offering. Will it be enough to boost sales? The answer is going to be no. As predicted, current Cybertruck owners must be livid to see their residual values plummet further. But wait, there's more. Who buys a vehicle for residual value? Anybody who's buying their first cars in the COVID era. Let's share this tab instead. Close the other one. The first one that makes sense just after 10 days. Stop beating on that screen. Self-scratching on that screen. Oh my goodness. You okay? Did it fall on her? Did it pinch her? Well, who's being on the lid? Is that Moto? Yeah, you should be scared. That thing fell down. It could have pinched your finger. Three-year-olds don't think about consequences ahead of time. Anyway, let's see. First one that made sense, agreed. 10 days makes no sense, I also agreed. Quietly killed this hype this morning on a post on X. Wes, not just A, posted all-wheel drive Cybertruck now starting at $59.9. Musk quote tweeted it, but only for the next 10 days. So it sounds like he didn't approve that, and like he canceled it after he saw it. That's what that looks like. Musk quote tweeted it only for the next 10 days, unless it was his plan to make a limited run. But it doesn't run to the end of the quarter, and that's usually how he does it. Unclear what happens after the 10 days. Does the price go up? Does all-wheel drive trim disappear entirely? Interesting. And then what would the Intrigue Cyber Beast look like if they do that? Or would it be Cyber Beast and rear-wheel drive only, but rear-wheel drive will have this level of content instead of the stupid one they had last time? Interesting. Follows a pattern of erratic Cybertruck pricing decisions. Tesla launched the truck at $80 in 2023, far above the promised $39.9. It introduced a stripped-down rear-wheel drive model at $69.9, so that one cost more and gave you way less Cybertruck than this current one. And in April of 25, and killed it by September after fewer than 250 units were reportedly built. Nobody wanted that piece of crap. It was a terrible value for what you got for the little bit of price drop. It hiked the Cyber Beast price by 15 last August, only to reverse the increase this week, and now the first genuinely competitive configuration gets a 10-day expiration date. Electric's take is this is peak Cybertruck chaos, and now the question is why? Musk, obviously. That's the answer. Tesla finally launches a version of this truck that a normal person could reasonably consider buying. All-wheel drive, properly equipped at a price that doesn't require a second mortgage, and within hours, Musk goes on X and tells everyone it's only available for 10 days. What we don't know what Musk means exactly. It could be a limited time introductory price, a flash sale gimmick to help Tesla numbers before the end of the quarter, or a signal that the all-wheel drive trim is about to be replaced by something else entirely. What we do know is that this kind of erratic messaging is exactly why the Cybertruck is failing. Yes, exactly. People want some stability, and this whiplash stuff is getting old, Elon. Consumers need stability and confidence when spending $60,000 on a vehicle. Instead, they get a CEO who treats pricing like a social media stunt. I can't even argue with you on that. It's a top comment by SF90 says, the S and X weren't selling in enough volume to make business sense. Cybertruck can't be doing much better. This is going to get canceled sooner than later. Yeah, but the thing is S and X, they have the excuse of, we needed to make Optimus there. I don't know what their excuse will be to cancel Cybertruck since they're not making many Model Ys out of that factory at the moment. Any Model Ys out of that factory at the moment? Yeah, they're making some because they had they weren't all structural cast. Yeah, they're making Model Ys out of there. They're not making many structural Model Ys there. It's a mental model block I've got because that's the one I think of as the Giga Austin Model Y, but really they made the regular one there too. Still do. Cybertruck is extremely close to what Tesla was already building and having a hard time selling. Yeah, it is. But the price is better. Maybe Tesla is trying to get rid of Cybertruck parts ahead of killing the program entirely. That's possible. Or a major refresh to try and revive a vehicle program that's already on life support. That I think that would be better than the what Musk had said in the beginning of, we'll make a normal one if we have to. Just make this one or its replacement be everything you promised at a price that makes sense. And you don't even have to change the exterior looks, although you might have to for what you're about to do to make it happen, but we'll see. This will be interesting to watch. Let's see. Excuse me. The broader trajectory here is deeply concerning. Tesla's committing to automotive suicide, abandoning the car business that generated $80 billion in annual revenue to chase robotaxis, humanoid robots, and humanoid robots that currently generate nothing. The Cybertruck was already a victim of this pivot, and Musk is floating an autonomous cargo delivery vehicle for a truck that can barely sell 5,000 units per quarter as a consumer vehicle. So with this, it's as we've been saying, me and Brian and Mark and Patrick, it would make sense, and they have the bandwidth and capability to continue the vehicles as is while they ramp up the robot stuff. They don't have to. They're not so constrained that they need to get the space, get the engineers, get the everything else to switch straight to autonomy overnight. They don't have to. And in fact, they're still going to be building Cybercab and eventually the robot bus and whatever. Those are still cars, and so you'll still need your car factory. So why cancel things in advance? SpaceX, it made some sense because you had to rebuild everything to the new factory. You don't have those same constraints at Tesla. And yes, this does seem premature, and yeah, they'll probably weather it, but why make it harder than it has to be? And the transition is going to be hard, but why start early? Why start early? Unless this stuff is ready, and clearly it's not ready, why put everything in place for it to be ready now? Especially when you've had trouble reading the tea leaves in the past. 10 years ago, my car was supposed to take itself out of the garage and come meet me. Even the current one can't do that. Not the current one of mine, but like the one they're selling today can't do that. Cybercab can't do that as is today. Although with the wireless charger, it certainly could. And it actually fits in my garage. But it's a 2-seater. I always needed 4, and now I need more. That's why I got a 7-seater. I can do with a 5 for now, but the 6-seat Cybertruck would have been perfect. I didn't actually need 7 seats. I needed 6. If Tesla is serious about making Cybertruck work, the 60,000 all-wheel drive model should be permanent. Yes, not a 10-day promotion. But at this point, it's hard to believe Tesla is serious about making the Cybertruck work at all. Mm-hmm. In fact, if this price only lasts 10 days, it would suggest that Tesla cannot make the truck profitably at that price. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's true, but that's what it suggests. If the S and X weren't selling enough, Tesla will cancel it as soon as they think they can do so without large public embarrassment. They will cancel it as soon as SpaceX IPOs and Musk buys a new source of public market equity to use as leverage for his loans. Then the Tesla price can crash without the margin calling on his loans. That's certainly a theory. I'll give you that. Cybertruck must also cost a chunk more than the S and X to make. I don't know about that. Not that either were super profitable. It's just was made in China Model 3 that rescued Tesla. No price is low enough that the spruce goose of the automotive industry will sell in some quantities. Some weirdos will fall for it, though. I want one. It would suggest that Tesla cannot make the truck profitably at that price. It would suggest there's no price at which is profitable. Maybe so, because you saw how high the price was on that nasty model. The original Cybertruck design imagined you could fold stainless steel like origami to make a very cheap to produce machine. That never worked. But the shape of the Cybertruck pretends they could pull it off, making the whole mess both ugly and expensive. There are prices where it would be profitable if only there were millions of buyers at those prices. As you say, there aren't, and low volume vehicles have even higher costs. Yeah. At 40K with 500 miles range and a stressed exoskeleton, it stood a chance, but reality hit hard, or bit hard. Exactly, it will never be profitable because it will never sell enough to justify the investment. I would never say never to that. I would say that you might be right, but as close as I'd get to that. Will they make back the original investment? Most likely not. It depends on what they're attributing just to the truck. However, they still can have positive margins on the individual vehicles. When they have no longer sell them for a positive margin, that's when they have to be canceled. Assuming new safety rules don't force the end of sales like they did with the original Roadster, for example. I don't think it was safety as much as it was that Lotus canceled their vehicle. Priceless. There is no build that makes sense at any price. The only thing they should be used for dropping the body. That's a bit harsh. Cybertruck will be available at this price for only 10 days each quarter. Yeah, there we go. Until we stop making it entirely next year. I can see that. Or stop making it next quarter or next full moon or just about any time, and then we might change our minds and not stop making it, or maybe not. Depends on the ketamine stills. How much money they cost to make and how long Elon's prepared to lose money making them will determine that horizon. Yep. The common tactics of scam artists is to say things are limited time. You have to act fast. This will be gone soon. Try and pressure the customer into acting on emotion rather than thinking about it. Finally, a Tesla going out of business sale. So, for those of you that aren't aware, because here in the States, we have this all the time. Our furniture and mattress stores are forever going out of business. You got a guy standing on the side of the street holding a sign, going out of business, and it goes on that way for like 20 years till the owner retires, and then it really does go out of business, and nobody notices. Funny thing is, some people still fall for it. There's a sucker born every minute. The birth rate has been falling for a long time, but not the number of suckers being born. FC transfers this quarter only. One online marketing these days. I don't think the price is holding it back millions of buyers. Maybe some, but not so many that lowering the price is going to unleash a wave of demand. I think if it was longer than 10 days, I think that we would definitely see some people buying this because it's a good value compared to that other thing. I would buy or lease an all-wheel drive Cybertruck at 45K. Yeah. They don't need to take away the 59 price tag for a vehicle that's gone down as one of the worst automotive sales disasters in history. Yeah. I totally buy the fact that this will only remain for 10 days and never see the light of day again. I believe it'll remain for 10 days, and after 10 days, when they get maybe 1,000 orders, they'll lower the price again. I have to think that this will sell better than the other one. Like it may have already done it. Like just boom, in that one day announcement, they might have sold all 250 or whatever they said that the other one got right away. I wouldn't buy a Tesla. Musk at the helm. That's the other problem. Is again, he needs to learn to shut his mouth. Besides his political views, he's constantly shown he's driving Tesla away from being a car company. I don't mind that. That being the car company part. As long as they keep making cars, it doesn't have to be their main product. I mean, what was it? General Mills was a submarine company for a while, while still making cereal. But I didn't, not that I was around for it, but it didn't mean that we stopped buying cereal. It would be like buying Saturn after GM said they were pulling the plug. I would buy a Saturn today. Not the ones that would have still been available new, of course, but if the rest of GM was going to be around to maintain it. At least with Saturn or the Aztec, as mentioned as well, you'd have support because the shared platforms with hundreds of thousands of other GM products. Who knows what will happen a few years down the road with Teslas on the whole. They could go the way of Fisker. They will not go the way of Fisker. But if the company were gone or out of the cars, I think the company had to be gone to be completely out of cars. It does change things on the long run. I do wonder if the superchargers are going to go wireless though to support the Cybercab. I see an awful lot of 2008 to 2009 Saturns on the streets, and they all look to be in really good shape. Neighbor down the street has a view as a daily driver that looks new and runs like it. Or like buying a Pontiac Aztec. Same thing there. Question: what do you call 3 Aztecs dealership lot? A lifetime supply. For one person, yes. Or if you're in San Diego State football fan, 3/5 of your starting offensive line. All right, I'll see myself out. The best thing Tesla can do is close the Texas factory, sell it to auto automakers. Why? And who could use it? They'd have to rejigger everything, which actually offer compelling products like Rivian, Lucid, Hyundai, or even Toyota. These Chinese handlers want tips first. Why close the Texas factory? What should they produce there? Barbie and Ken puppets? The rest of the Model Ys that they can make? Tesla's battling the car business, generated $80 billion in revenue. They have to. The Chinese are eating their lunch and fast. Not in the States, though. In Canada and Mexico, yeah. Chinese are eating their lunch fast. Tesla has tens of billions of dollars pending liabilities worldwide for failure to deliver millions of privately owned income-generating robotaxis. Okay, so that part right there, I'm sure somebody could hold him to that. But they were saying they were running on cash. I didn't see anything that said they had all that many loans. But if they were liable for that roaming robotaxi thing, that would cost them a pretty penny. This guy's laughing at that concept. $60,000 doesn't require a second mortgage. What plans have you been living on? With taxes, fees, shipping, that's $65K, and wage in the US is $57, so it takes more than a year's wage to buy one with zero down, and a 7-year loan at 8%, but it costs more than $1,000 a month. Only rich people and well-off in the upper 20% of the population can afford a $1,000 a month car. You'd be surprised what's out there right now. I'm not saying it's a good choice, but yeah, you'd be surprised how much people are spending on cars, or for how long they get their loans for. Besides, who wants to buy an ugly silver elephant? Remember what they did? They did the same thing with Model 3. First promised 35, then they only sold it at that price if you called them directly and asked for that configuration specifically, albeit a heavily neutered config with zero options. It was only available in that cheap configuration for a couple of months, and then you could not buy it anymore. Theory goes that they did this because they were getting so much flack from people saying that Musk promised a Model 3 at a certain price, but it never delivered, except in this weaselly way. This name is familiar. Are they testing true demand of Cybertruck? If lowering the price doesn't trigger a large sale boost, maybe there really is no demand due to other factors such as Musk and the ugliness of the truck, rather than being priced too high. Mary announced that the new Bolt will be available for limited time only. She did actually. Rookie move. Hold my beer. I can see that too. That's a really good point, Andre. Wow. Just in a fight with Mary over the. I can see that. I'm not going to remember that, but I like that one. And the new Bolt will probably outsell the Cybertruck's lifetime sales in the first year. Yeah, probably. Same range as premium all-wheel drive, 325 miles. Less towing capacity is a bit weird, given it has the same motors. Does the active suspension add thousands of pounds of towing capability? Yes. Yes, it does. Good catch. Maybe a way to backtrack on the towing spec as their glued-on aluminum frame with tow hitch isn't doing so well with the high tongue weights and Also cantilever loads. Maybe if you load it correctly. I can't believe actual engineers designed the towing part and didn't test it before releasing it to production. Yeah, they did. That's why they have the numbers they do. It can do more than it's rated for, used in the way that it is engineered to be used, but then they'd have to warranty that. So they lower the numbers down. So if you use it the way it was built to be used, it'll do those numbers. Must put the best software guys on the CT unibody design. Sure, whatever. His personal goons, the ones he had searching Twitter for anyone making a joke about him so they could be banned. Perhaps not even a joke. Tesla employees were used at Twitter and also the federal government to slash and burn. Possibly. The ones at Doge weren't the best and the brightest, that's for sure. Inexperience is definitely the word that would come to mind. Perhaps they weren't automobile engineers. That would be something that hopefully the lawyers would not allow. Let's look at other trucks and say, let's make the number match. Engineers are not consulted. Again, I don't think so. If I found somewhere to cut 100 pounds out of the frame and strength, that's more likely. Because it does have a different bed floor and no air suspension, so lighter glue. It could be lighter glue. Takes 5 less years to delaminate. Hopefully no years to delaminate, because it's not going to delaminate, hopefully. What is clear, given the current Cybertruck owners are not livid that they're residual, with the residual thing. I wonder how they feel about getting the one finger salute many times a day. Parallels between Musk and Howard Hughes are incredible. Yeah, they are. Except Hughes was multi-talented and had major personal achievements. Leave that one alone. Buy now. Stock's limited. Our operators are standing by. Buy now before we lock it up into the Disney vault. But wait, there's more. In the next 10 days, we'll send you and a friend to the island for a weekend of debauchery. I'd buy that for $1. The wildest parties. Rental friends available upon request. Those are harsh. Nearby neighbor has a former Foundation Series Cybertruck. You can see the remnants of the etchings, and it looks terrible for a $100,000 vehicle. Finger and hand stains are visible from the street, and it looks dirty all the time, even after he's washed it. I can understand why I see so many Cybertrucks that have been wrapped. Plus, the wraps look really good. What I do want to know is how easy it is to wrap at home, because that's what I want to do. Post his own Tesla AI team and stole the revenue from Tesla shareholders to capitalize on the market. Pocket the money from AI Boom himself. Following Kirk once save on influence. There will always be a conflict of interest. I mean, I think I did call it a potential conflict of interest when we reported on the GPU line swap thing, and the vote buying. He's comfortable with gray areas, that's for sure. And Stan's ridiculed Jim Farley. I know it's Chris Farley's cousin, for canceling the Lightning versus continuing to cut margins. Proving once again that Farley DNA is smarter than Musk DNA. I wouldn't say the DNA is smart. I would say that if this new truck that they're going to show us is any good, then it was the right move for them. But they should have announced the two closer together, and they would have had a lot less strife in the market. Imagine you bought it now, and then in 2 weeks, Dorian's must go reduce his price by, let's say, 30%. He wants to spit in your face. He does not care about brand loyalty or anything ethical. Remember the end of 2022. They definitely often choose not to do the thing that will retain customers throughout their years in the industry. 10 days is the limit of Elon's attention span now. Didn't it take 10 days for us to rehire the supercharger team after letting the entire team go? I suspect some connection to his dosing schedule. I'll leave that one alone. If history has a guide, after 10 days, it'll drop to 54,900 in even more desperate attempt to stroke sales. Or even when it drops to 9,999. I might be interested then. Shoot, I'd do it. I'd do it right away at that price. No, never mind. It's any price above zero. I would still do it right away at that price. Get a couple of them. I think you're overlooking the real use of a Cybertruck. It's clearly made to park in a garage or barn, take the wheels off, and be used as 13 Powerwall systems. Yeah, at that point, I'd get extras. I forgot about that part. A very good deal. Even better if you buy one used. I was with you until the Powerwall bit, but I'm sure the batteries can be used separately. Yes, but plug and play. It's as a vehicle. For that dollar, I might be interested in the battery packs for sports car conversion. Scrap the rest after hosting a sledgehammer party. Well, from what we saw of the sledgehammer, that would be quite a lot of wailing on it. Just a lot of hitting it with the sledgehammer. Nope. Give the chickens a rust-free coop. It would have to be competitive price against other automotive chicken coops, although it won't rust out. Interesting. Even at 60,000, there's nothing compelling about the. Are you looking to say there's nothing compelling about it? I mean, I could see you saying that you don't want to look at it or be associated with it, but to say there's nothing compelling, come on now. Simply attention marketing hype. Many will jump on this flash sale. Oh, hey, look, comment. Sorry. Highlander says, number one driver of being a moderator and co-host is showing up about 2 minutes before the show so you can do mic checks. Blew that one today. I hope you're feeling all right today, though. Sandy will definitely have had his fingers on the new Ford truck. You're correct. They've announced together they were stopping the Lightning because they got a new project. Definitely would have helped. Yeah, absolutely. And you can see by all the parallels to Tesla that they have on their new vehicle that if Monroe wasn't directly involved, then they definitely listened to him, and then it looks like they're going to do well on that, assuming that the entire offering is reasonable and priced well. So I think they're going to do well on the new Ford. Hopefully, they also have a solution to what looks like the 4-foot bed problem, because while the 4-foot bed is still a useful pickup, a 6, 8, 10-foot extension of some sort will allow you to do a lot more with it over time. Or maybe, it's just the first of many, and this is the small one. We haven't had a good small truck since the launch of the Maverick. And the Maverick's been out a little while, and it's still a little big. Like the Tello truck, for instance, I'd love to see the Tello truck succeed in the market, because that thing is packaged well. There's a video footage of Sandy pretending the meetings out in California. It was on Everything Electric. All right. Send me a link on that one, please. I should say not pretending. You say ending. Oh, attending. Okay. Good. Yeah, send me that, please. I watched the Monroe on the Also bikes. That's why I went ahead and put down the 2 reservations for each of us to get a bike. That, as I pointed out, was more expensive than the Honda in Japan. The moped we launched the show with. I guess not launched it with, but pretty early into the show. All right, so let's see what else they got in here. The same company discontinued the Model S over this monstrosity. I'm really hoping that we find that there's a Cyber S and X coming out from the same line, because it can be done. Simply attention marketing, jump on this flash sale, and then the price will be set to an actually profitable level. That's probably what we'll see. The same company discontinued this. Model S needed a full refresh to meet current EU crash tests, and I figured that's what, if that part is true, I figured that's what would make it get canceled, is if they had to redo it significantly. Then it was done. Doing stuff like changing the frame out to Giga casting, I could see them doing that for both savings and consistency, but like it's been the same shape since it came out. Seeing them completely redo it was unlikely at the sales numbers they were rocking. And so if it needed that to meet crash tests, then yeah, done. It's limping along with grandfathered obligation status, and this is why Tesla tried to palm off the UK deposit holders with the left-hand drive version with the Plaid. A right-hand drive version would have needed a fresh certificate, and it wouldn't have met current regulations. Okay, yeah, there's something to that. You're trying to boost sales through FOMO. Yeah, always has been. Yeah, but the reality is Tesla will keep dropping Cybertruck price until they repurpose those employees' factory space and equipment. Having mass layoffs will affect the stock, idle factory space, and equipment costs more than selling Cybertrucks at 10% loss. Yes, but you can't make up for losses with increased volume. But you can if it's priced correctly. I thought that Optimus was going to sell billions and use up all that manufacturing space. That's what they said for S and X. Spent some time talking with Sandy, Michigan meetup, event pictures, all that you know about. But it's awesome conversations, dude. Absolutely. Dun, dun, dun. Job prices are a lot more public though, and Musk is ever so slightly thin-skinned. Yeah. Nailhead hit ego will keep the price high, which is more amusing. Unfortunately. Got Foji, fear of joining in. There are certainly things I have fear of joining in for due to fear of retaliation. Yep. Genius move. No CEO would be brave enough. Analysts never expected this zig while the rest of the industry zags. I think he's being funny. What is the genius move? A limited time sale is a way to increase sales volume, although it isn't revolutionary. I think it's because it was a joke. You need to learn to recognize sarcasm. I thought it was a joke. Taking while the industry zags. Yes. No normal person would buy a Cybertruck. A lot of people. Oh my goodness. Huge addressable market. Richard in Brooklyn, that said the price has to be low enough. So I don't know if 60K before sales tax is enough to move the needle. 35 or even 40 was enough interest for a lot of people. Though. Yeah, absolutely. If it still came out at 49.9, that trim, assuming it wasn't missing everything like the 69,000 model was, it would be always out of stock. People be in line for it. With the crashed U.S. dollar and political risk and uncertainty regarding tariffs, I understand why Musk needed to pull back on products at the formal United States or United SA. Like many investors. I see what you did there. Such a steady hand at the wheel, so confidence inspiring, full meltdown coming up. I wonder why the Georgia Elections Board investigation of Elmo's illegal activities in 2024 will go. They're claiming it's back. Sent pre-filled mail-in ballots to voters. Wow, I hope not. I'll never criticize Cybertruck in protest rooms. I have too many friends who drive them. However, on the Autoline out of Detroit, it's a different story. And they know me pretty well. And his son, Sean. Oh, yeah, an Autoline, yeah. Autoline Detroit. The program is, they're good. Pro Tesla rooms. I would say it's not a perfect vehicle by any means. I think that even the biggest fans would have to acknowledge that it's not a perfect vehicle. And maybe even that it wasn't what was promised to us. I think that they should be able to agree to that as well. And that it does have some room left to make some waves, and we'll see if it ever does. Got to clear out this unsold truck somehow. Except that they're making a whole new truck. So unless they're going in and taking stuff out and putting it back on the part shelf, that's not what they did there. Trash cans go on sale occasionally. I guess it'd be the same for dumpsters. 2-for-1 sale on stainless steel trash cans. I did get one of those actually, a 2-for-1 sale on the stainless steel trash can. It was a decent deal. Maybe they should collab with Simple Human. Every car maker does limited offers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. So I want to thank everybody for showing up and commenting. Just buy a minivan. Yeah, I want them to make a minivan or a macro van, as the case might be with the robo van. So again, I want to thank everybody for chatting with me here today and taking the time to come through and watch. I know the Ford truck is supposed to be 100% new, which is going to be a nightmare for their parts system. Oh yeah, absolutely will be. But it's their first unicasting, gigacastings. It's got the tree architecture, so the what they call the unboxed, the new zonal architecture like Tesla and Rivian are using. I don't know if this is the result of the skunkwork projects, but it sounds like the closest thing that they have to that. And well, I wish them luck, because what we need is competition to make any of this work. The minute that anybody gets comfortable is when we start getting taken advantage of on price, or any number of worse things with that. So I'll thank our channel members for your continued monetary investment in this channel to help us keep the bills lower than they would be otherwise. And I never ask you guys, like and subscribe and all that, please. And I'll catch you guys on the flip side. We'll see you tomorrow on Tesla Life Express, Wednesday live, and we'll go from there. Bye-bye now.